Put it here. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Erebus. I'm joined here with Vortex, and today we're going to be talking all about Spencer. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, for
Spencer.
sure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, dude. Spencer. Let's talk about him. What makes him unique? What's interesting about Spencer that sort of sets him apart as a character?
Okay, so what is unique about Spencer is obviously that he wears knee pad, he's got dreadlocks, and he has a robot arm. But aside from that, is the actual character play in the game. Spencer is unique because he has tools that can be applied to various playstyles, and he doesn't excel at anything, but he can be somewhat considered I would consider him like somewhat anti-meta a little bit.
Okay.
He's got some unique things that only maybe himself and a few other characters can do, but he can become a big enabler for offense. Is
Okay.
what I
Well,
would say.
big enabler for offense. Let's dig a little bit into what anti-meta means. So meta in this context would generally mean lockdown super or just pressure lockdown into a mix. Is that what you're meaning by meta?
Yes. So Spencer has the capability to like help you not necessarily just completely avoid for free these situations, but have certain things about the way his moves work in this game that can kind of like trick people out. He's kind of got some like knowledge checks that people don't really know about in this game that you can take advantage of to make him be really effective. He's just got some tricky things all around.
Okay, so he's got some tricky stuff. I just as a just to get a little more concrete with it. As a person who has played against Spencer but doesn't play as him, it feels to me like two of the things that he has that are very unique are he has just the best round start in the game with Armor Piercer, and he has very interesting mobility and the ability to kind of control almost feels like anywhere on the screen that he wants to threaten. It feels like he can threaten that pretty quickly. Was that accurate?
Exactly, yes. So that is pretty much exactly what I mean behind when I say that he's got some tricky things to him. Obviously, having some good grounded movement and strong aerial options as well when it comes to zips, of course. You have swings of various kinds. You have like an 8-way basically swing. You can go
Yeah,
whichever way
nobody
you
else
want to
really
go.
has stuff like that in the same way he does. Cool.
Um,
Yeah,
and he can
that's
pretty much, like you said, he is that. One of the things about Spencer is that he can get you from literally anywhere.
right.
Exactly like how you were saying. He has the ability to pressure you, and he has the tools able to just reach into certain areas of the screen that other characters have a very hard time of dealing with.
Yeah, I can definitely see that when I play against him. Is that it just feels like he always has the ability to, no matter where I am on the screen, if I'm trying to set something up, he can just press a zip, get to me, and confirm into full combo, and I have to just always be respecting that. So you basically always,
Yeah.
it's kind of like Dorm, you always have to respect him no matter where he is on the screen.
Yes, it's obviously not as powerful as that.
Sure.
It's not a pillar. Like it's more of a commitment going for things like maybe like an up hook or like a up grapple, trying to catch people in the air doing things. But we'll get into that obviously. But
Right, right. Cool.
you're
Okay.
not wrong though. Yeah.
Let's move on to playstyle. You touched on it briefly. It sounded like what you were saying was he's not constrained to a particular playstyle.
No, he definitely has the tools to be able to do some zoning, some interesting zoning patterns with grenades. Obviously, when you talk about his movement, he has a very capable ground dash. His back dash is even faster. Like, look at that. His back dash is just very smooth. If
Yeah,
you
he's
have the
got a good
technique, you
dash.
can just. He's a good dash character. He can get in. He can close movement. He can be pretty much wherever you need him to be. When you combine your dashing with things like super jumps or there's short hops and multiple zips, he's a very mobile character. He can be hard to
So,
track down if you're moving right, and he can get to where you need to go with him as well. But
so he's got good
he's
movement. Does he have? Would you describe him as a character with particularly good mix? If you wanted to play him more in a rushdown style, to me it feels like he wouldn't be a particularly good rushdown character.
so when I say that he can apply to any play style, he has the tools to technically do so. Um, Yes, obviously going in, he does have a low. He's got a decent sweep as well. Um, he's got several just moves that hit low.
Yeah, this
That's
catches
kind of the
up.
mix right there. That looks like kind of the startup of this move. People get confused when
Yeah,
it's during a
I can
scramble or
definitely see
just
that.
when you're speeding up the pace on people. That's why I like to try and play rushdown. I like to try and keep people guessing in as many situations as quickly as possible, and just try and scramble and blitz them out pretty much.
Okay.
So he has lows. He obviously has an overhead, which is like one of the slowest in the game, and is super reactable. It's about 27 frames, I think, around that area. I don't know
Jeez.
exactly, but
People
it's
still
around
get
that
hit by
area.
it.
It's not bad. It's an option select.
Okay.
It also
so
reaches very far. Like, look at how far away I am when I
Right.
can do this overhead and still
So
hit you. Get full confirm.
he's got good threats for being able to hit to high low mix you with a, not the best overhead, but not bad. If you want to rush down with him or play more scrambly.
The overhead is a commitment, so it's technically not safe. So if you block the overhead and then go for a throw punish, it'll work every time before I can actually get the piercer. So if you'd like to demonstrate.
Sorry, you want me to do what again?
So I'm gonna do an overhead at you and just block the overhead, and you should be able to throw punish before the piercer's able to come out every single time.
Okay. Okay, I gotta block
sorry.
it. No, you're fine. I push block OS to the grab.
Yes.
This is gonna be alright, one more time. I tried, man. I tried to grab that.
Oh, really? Here, maybe let me try it.
Okay. Alright, well I gotta actually do it. I'm gonna do jab overhead into piercer. Piercer's
Okay.
Is piercer back light, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I believe you. I believe you that is a thing. That is a thing that never fucking works for me.
It can be. It's still a commitment. You're probably better off going for forward throws, so that way, like, you're getting a little bit of a micro walk for the punish, kind of.
Let me try again. Let me try again.
Okay. I'll do jab into overhead as well.
Okay. Yeah, no,
gotta-
I'm mashing forward heavy.
It can. I think it's more of like a timing thing. It's a little bit risky to mash it out. You know what I mean?
All right.
Then I don't know. I might
You know the timing. I believe you that there is a timing.
true.
I can tell you as a person who doesn't play Spencer, when I play against Spencers, oops, that wasn't intentional. It feels like that overhead is real. It feels like that overhead into Armor Piercer Light is completely safe and real. But I believe you that there is a frame that you can throw punish it on.
You can definitely throw punish, and you can also you should have enough time to be able to get bust out as well.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I believe that. Okay, so separate of the play style, which people might, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. What is his game plan? Like assuming sort of an arbitrary partner, whatever partner he wants to have. What does he want to be doing when he's on the screen?
Okay, so when I said mostly that this character can do certain play styles depending on how you want to play neutral and approach it with this character, you can kind of play all odds with some decent rushdown options. He does have command grabs, which are not very good in this game, but he does have them, which can be conditioned in at certain points. He does also have ranged options when it comes to grappling hook choices, and obviously grenades as well. So he can do every kind of playstyle. He just doesn't excel at anything.
Sure,
right?
he's not.
But he is a very diverse character, though. He's got good movement options that allow you to be able to play and take advantage of his tools in a certain way.
So what?
So his game plan, in my opinion, and what I try to go for, is, like I said, I'm trying to enable my secondary character who excels at offense up close to be able to have better options to do that. So exactly like taking advantage of 99-second piercer mix-up, like the mind game behind that.
Yeah. Well, let's get a little more concrete, since that feels very hand-wavy. Let's think about, like, if you're in neutral and you're around here, what is his win condition? What is the thing that you're trying to accomplish? Are you trying to zip to someone and grapple to them so that you can get into a block string? Are you? I mean, I know it's like very character dependent, and there's no like this isn't a game where there's just one answer for anything. But can you get a little bit more concrete about like what moves are you trying to utilize, or like what is the thing that you're trying to get to so that like you can enable your secondary character with him?
So Spencer, aside from the 99-second gambit, which is one of the most unique and powerful parts of aspects of the character, in my opinion, as well. Aside from that, like I said, he's better offensively than defensively. He does a lot of damage. He builds you a lot of meter. He's more of an offensive character, in my opinion. So you're wanting to try and close distance and get in. Like, you want to try and put the hands on people by utilizing the movement, baiting people in like that with well-placed grenades into the combo, just catching grappling hooks, people trying to get a little overzealous on you, catching jumps, and then you can close distance and then get a confirm for nice damage, nice meter, and set yourself up for very solid Oki.
Okay, that's more in line. Now I see a lot of Spencer players do air stall stuff. I'm not 100% sure what all the controls are for his zip, but we can talk about that later. So like when I see a lot of them going for like just air stalls, zip in the air over and over again, what are they like? What are the people looking for when they do that? I know I play against Drip and I see him do that sometimes. Is he'll just like he'll do that to sort of try to bait you into doing a bad punish on that if you're playing a character that can't necessarily punish or get to him.
Right. So Drip and Mango have somewhat of a similar style in like how they abuse that. I think they're a little bit better with it than I am, honestly. Like, I'm not bad with it, but They you're right. Some Spencer players really do like that style of like baiting people out by blocking the grab, and it kind of like frame traps a little bit. You know what I mean? Just catching people just trying to block and inching in.
Okay, so he can also just be used as like I'm floating in the air and I'm shooting this arm out, and you want to get to me, but like I have tag, and if you screw up even a little bit trying to get to me, you're gonna get hit by the arm, and I get full combo.
Yes.
Cool.
So everything that Spencer does essentially leads back into offense, right? Like you get full confirm off as what is essentially a full screen, somewhat projectile option, and just grappling hooks.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I think that covers the game plan pretty well. Let's talk about teammates. So what does he want from a partner? I know that's hard to nail down when, I feel like the characters that I would call like the most all-arounder characters in this game would probably be like Spencer, Cap, and Venom as like characters that are just like they can kind of do everything. But what do you think Spencer really is looking for in a partner?
Spencer in a partner, in my opinion, he definitely needs someone to help enable him back. So obviously having a far-reaching overhead enables Spencer to be able to do very just consistently just messed up things when it comes to the tag mechanic.
And actually the fact that overhead is so slow really enables him to utilize it as a really good assist or support tool, because you have a lot of time to make that hard to blockable happen.
Yes. So that's what I mean by him enabling offense well, especially because of the 99-second gambit. Like, it's a very strong option to be able to just control the beginning of an interaction like a 99-second. Like, the pressure that I put on people to not get hit right away is huge, and that plays into part of the mind game.
Right, because you have such good set play after if you get that first touch.
Exactly. So in my opinion, Spencer needs a character like Jeddah is a very good partner, like specifically for me, because he allows me to be able to set up certain things with Spencer. Like I said, be able to play those different aspects of his game plan, the keep away mixed in with the rush down, pretty much just Jeddah being able to throw pinwheels and kind of these somewhat pseudo like rush down into support options that Spencer can take advantage of to just kind of keep the pressure on, or just find hits by conditioning into overhead eventually, or just whatever else, setting up hard to blockables, etc.
Right, that makes sense. So would you say that like you would really prioritize having a character that has like a strong setup game plan with Spencer because that first touch is so important. And if you have like a Strange or a Jetta or a Dorm or a Dante that can just set up disgusting Oki if they get the the time to set up for it.
Yes,
He would prefer
exactly.
having those kind of characters.
Oh, for sure, definitely. It's just a different feeling to just be able to control right off the bat like that. People having to guess, they have to guess more than you. You know what I mean? You're more in control because you know what you're doing. They have to guess what you're doing.
Do you look at in terms of like a partner? Do you look at meter build and partners? Like I know that a lot of the heavier hitting partners tend to build less meter, or do you have like routes specifically for your team that make it so that you can easily do set play into short combo that prevents the counter tag on the third hit or something like that, so that you can basically just completely force them to guess 3 times, and if they lose, they just lose their character.
Definitely like that because of Spencer's ability, like I said, to just provide solid damage output, like regardless of hit, and just the meter build that you get from that, it just enables all those things. Being
Okay.
able to just use your meter, um, pretty much just imagine it like this. So it's like if I hit you in the 99 second, I'm gonna build around 3 to 4 meters, depending on if you choose to counter switch very early or not.
I see.
And I'm gonna get an Oki situation that's
So
gonna possibly
you go
lead
for
in.
meter build and just accept that they'll try to counter tag and then try to force the tag
My
back and continue from there.
my team has good damage just all around. It's one of the strengths of my team is that, and when it comes to like combo damage and extensions, they have a lot of special hit states shared in between each character that can be abused for good consistent damage all the way across and strong Oki options every single time.
Okay. Okay. So you're looking for a partner that has really good Oki set play setups. Um, do you need a partner that has particularly strong? You mentioned being able to get him back in. Do you look for a partner that has like strong support tools? Like would Sigma be a particularly good partner for him in that like Sigma can basically always get you in if you really need to get in.
Definitely, for sure. Like, just because of, yeah, definitely. Like, Spencer can definitely take advantage of, like, good support as well. Like, his rushdown options, like I said, he doesn't excel at any one thing, but they are still options. So, as long as you have the right synergy going, like, he can definitely abuse a character like Sigma. Like, I know Spaz, shout out Spaz, is out there using, like, Sigma and like Rocket type stuff. Like you can definitely abuse characters like that to take advantage of Spencer's tools.
Okay. Cool. So he's looking for once again set play, strong Oki mix, setup characters, and characters with good support tools are also good for him. Let's talk about what he provides for a partner. So, what are the tools that you mentioned a little bit earlier? With obviously round start piercer is a fantastic tool to provide to a team. What
Yes.
other tools does he have that are either strong support tools or tools that he can sort of give to a partner to enable them?
Um, I feel like the round start piercer meta would be nice, deeply explained. We might not have time for that, but just for side pieces, um, I mean, even just confirming block strings, getting push blocked, like zip tag is not a bad option to just continuing pressure.
Yeah, that looks really
Um,
bad to have to block.
Grenades. Also, zip into grenade is plus, by the way, for everybody at home. It's plus in the double digits.
Can you explain that again? Can you just demonstrate zip into grenade and what that means?
So when you throw a grenade with Spencer in this game, they give you the ability to use your kick zip move, and you can zip with the grenade at the end side of your grapple, and it carries a big, large explosion of the grenade to the end of the zip hitbox.
And wow, that is
Whenever
plus. Okay.
whenever you do this move, you're plus like double digits for some reason. It's also a very good damage starter. It's like a heavy damage starter.
Huh. I tried jabbing there. Did I do something wrong? Why did it... Okay. Let's just try to figure out what you're doing differently. Maybe I'm just like needing to... No, I don't understand what you're doing differently. Huh. Alright, well.
That's the main idea behind it, is like, I think because, you know, you still have to zip over there, so the actual hit stop of the zip is plus, which means that when you zip in, you are going to be safe, essentially.
Okay, that's what you're getting at.
It's a very solid full screen poke option that if you touch them, you're going to be safe on the journey over to them regardless.
Sure, I understand. Okay, so you've got, as you said, zip tag is decent, and obviously, I mean, being able to do grenade with tag. Grenades are good. Like they apparently don't go away on your hit.
They don't go away when I get hit. No.
Yeah.
When Spencer gets hit, his grenades don't go away. They have a lot of startup, a lot more startup than a Winter Soldier, but when they stay out though.
Right. So that's good space coverage, and it's a good way of just like forcing the opponent to not press buttons because there's an active projectile that leads to full combo setup if they get hit.
Yes. I mean, he has the it's just good in a block string. Like you can just do the obvious like jab into like sweep anti-push block setup just for guaranteed pressure pretty much, and then just grenade into tag. Like if you have a character like Jetta that just has big buttons to just make sure that you're blocking something into something that I can set up and then just maybe run away, reset neutral with. Very strong.
I can see that. Let's talk about Piercer as a Piercer on block. So is there, if you're blocking and I do something like is that, obviously that's not a good Jetta thing to do, but like is Piercer with tag, would you call that a decent tool for continuing a block string pressure, or do you prefer to do other things, as you said, with nades or, I don't know, a zip or something?
So when it comes to 3-frame Piercer, the light Piercer, that's kind of where we start getting into what I said, that he's a little bit more of an anti-meta-ish, kind of, because of how unique Piercer works in the game, you know what I mean? Like this, it's not really like, when you think about how Piercer works, like, it's only offensive at the 99-second. Every other situation that I would use a light Piercer in is going to be in defensive situations, or even offensive situations that become defensive, like when people counter switch on you.
It's kind of a fast jab to get out of pressure.
Well, it's the fastest option in the game, right? It's a good, decent hitbox right away. So it's just like, oh, like you just counter switched in the middle of this button, like Piercer, you know what I mean? Like maybe get a birthday.
That just wins.
So like in the middle of block strings, like Dante doing, you know, like box dash, heavy, dash up, go low, just like that kind of pressure, right?
Right.
Dante is not allowed to do those kind of things against Spencer. Certain characters are not allowed to abuse certain options against Spencer in the same way.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I understand. Let's table that for now, just because I want to keep on talking about the team stuff. But we're going to cover Piercer in depth, I promise. So if we let's do heavy Piercer. If you block this for a second,
heavy Piercer is not a bad tag option at all. Like You have so much time during the windup to be able to make your opponent guess on this, and it also has a very large hitbox. Like if you want to like try and find the max range, like
come mid screen with me for a second. I want to see something. Come closer and just crouch block. Okay, so he can't cross up in time, but I'm sure a teleport character probably could. Like I imagine like Strider could probably teleport behind you, like if you did this with tag.
Oh yeah, no, Strider can make it. I'm pretty sure Jetta can make it too.
Okay, so I'm just bad with Jetta. Okay, okay. So Piercer, good support tool, good way to get your other character in.
Like, look at how far this goes as like a tag option. Like, look how far away I'm hitting you with this bomb. Look how far away that was. So if you run up on somebody and you have pressure and you literally just do jab into heavy Piercer,
Yeah, they're gonna
Like
be in.
you just have the mix-up option. You know what I mean? Like they might be trying to push block something. Like if you can bait people, like you said, go to the other side, cross up, like just jump over.
Okay. Cool.
They might
So.
put.
Oh, sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's teleport, all that. That's also another part of the 99-second gambit as well. As you can eventually just people anticipate after you condition them with the light piercer at the start of the round that you can just do heavy piercer and catch people attempting to push block off the light piercer and get a counter hit on a heavy starter and do more damage. That's what the real meta behind the piercer start is you condition people to not jump, and then you start doing stuff like that, like heavy piercer round start into tag to get people to like fidget and get hit, counter hit, or just doing hard to blockable round start and getting heavy damage starter and just killing people faster.
Cool. Okay, so basically he's got a couple decent support specials in the way of grenades and heavy piercer.
Grapple, still not a bad option if people are push blocking you out. You know what I mean? You can just do. You don't even have to go for a follow up. You can just do grapple into tag just to make sure that you're keeping yourself safe when people are just.
Sure. Okay. So grapple tag is also a good option. He has ways of basically like he doesn't feel like he's a particularly strong. Maybe I'm mischaracterizing here, but like when I compare him to other characters that I would think of as like strong supports, like Sigma is my go-to example, where Sigma can just tackle at you and then tag and like the other character is in. It doesn't feel like he can really enable a can opener situation in the same way where he can just force the other person to get in. I mean, obviously, if you can force them to block, you can do something like that, or maybe do the zip with the tag. But outside of a zip like that, it's not the same kind of lockdown. It's not the same kind of quality of tool.
Right, for sure.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk about stones then. What would you say his best stone is?
Spencer's best stone is definitely probably like Reality Stone.
You think Mango is playing the best Spencer with that Reality?
I think it's good for him. It's just another diversity in his toolkit that you just kind of add. I honestly think that Time Stone is good for him.
Okay. Does he have good storm stuff in time?
He does, because in Time Storm you're allowed to cancel your buttons into other buttons, right? And because of how far the overhead reaches, it's a true block string if you just keep canceling overhead into overhead. So
that's silly.
Eventually, yes. And whenever you do hit people, then you can cancel 3-frame piercer infinite and do.
I tasked that. I don't think that's a true infinite, but it gets you pretty high.
It's not, but you get almost like 7k for no meter.
It's high. Well, yeah, and your storm, but yeah, it's a lot of damage.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so
Reality Stone is good for him. Reality Storm also enables him. He's got a lot of like weird confirms and ways that he can specifically abuse the storm because of how he's able to convert. So like how Mango used to do, he would like do lightning and then get a grappling hook off it, and then just get some conversions. He can obviously like link. He can link supers and with the fire.
That would have linked. I understand.
You get the concept, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So Reality. Let's talk about the surge just for a second.
Yes. So Reality Surge, like, what people like. One thing that was fun for me as a Spencer player, like around the beginning of vanilla of this game, it was people abusing Reality Stone a lot, right? So what people didn't understand of the matchup at that time is that regular zip eats Reality Stone and keeps going. So while you're recovering from Reality Stone, I've already zipped through and I'm gonna hit you, basically, right?
Right.
So if you want to just do a ground Reality Stone, I'll just zip right.
Okay.
So you can kind of just zip through a Reality Stone.
You mean kick zip? Oh, okay.
Yes, specifically
Got it.
because it's not an actual like special move, right? So
Right.
it's like, but it does have enough to eat through a reality stone.
Got it. Okay.
But
But it
this,
seems like he benefits from the surge in that he doesn't have a lot of good air projectile situations, and so obviously I don't think he has a lot of air buttons that he's going to be pressing. It seems like he's always going to be doing zips in the air, but you can definitely use Reality Stone as just sort of a continuing to zone with him situation.
oh, contrary to what you might think, he's actually got amazing buttons like all around.
Oh, really? Okay. Just because yeah, go ahead.
some of his ground buttons, like his crouching light kick, is still stubby. That's notorious for Marvel 3. But his jab is a solid jab. You know what I mean? It's mashable. Like you can in certain situations at the right spacing. You know what I mean? It is still a jab. Like you can play footsies with this. You can make sure that people are getting meaty, not jumping out of anything with this. It's a nice, easy confirm for certain weird hits. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's a good jab. His heavy punch. This has tons of active frames on it, surprisingly.
Okay. Okay, so you think that so it is totally within the realm of possibility that he might press an air button that is a good air button and then want to reality after.
Jump heavy punch is one of the better air buttons in this game. It's definitely contesting with other good air buttons for sure.
Got it. And then you can, I assume, if someone jumps at you and they they get hit by the reality surge, there's a good chance that you can confirm somehow off of that with grapple.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I see that.
Like right there, like you get follow up grapple just to go. And if people like the thing about that is when you play reality and people reflect at you, you already have the counter that you know, which is zipping through the reality, right? So you can literally just catch people trying to come at you with your own reality and zip through, and then just piercer and keep your pressure going on them, or just counter hit or start pressure.
That makes sense. One thing I definitely saw when Mango used to play was,
This is the true zoning Spencer. If you were going to zone with Spencer, this is the stone that you used to do it. The Storm is like very good for punishy stuff, like using the lightning into grapples to confirm. The stone just enables him a whole other space control whenever you're abusing grenades as well.
Mm-hmm.
You can just kind of sit behind, have a grenade there, another grenade, you know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of in there doing stuff.
Got it. I wanted to just touch on...
Like, that's the loop right there.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being very annoying to get through. But one thing that I definitely remember seeing from Mango was, doing a lot of stuff of didn't mean to do that, but basically pressure in the storm in a way where it enabled, you're so afraid of that level 3 cash out that, and cash out command grab, to be clear for people who don't know Spencer well, that you're willing to just hold up back in his pressure, and that just opens up so many, now you're up backing and you're getting hit by everything. Would you say that's a fair part of the storm is it is one of the best assists in the game in all of the shit that you can throw out in that storm, and it sort of enables him because he has such a threatening command grabs level 3 to cap that off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you can definitely, if you are calculating your hit stun right, there's definitely the grapple restand mix-ups that you can do grapple restand, and then you do light piercer, and it's technically meaty. So if people aren't paying attention and they're up backing, you're just gonna hit them, or you just get pressure into mix basically after that.
Right.
It is grabbable still. All the same punishes for things that he had in Marvel 3, he still has in this game.
Okay, well, we'll dig into that a little bit more later, because I'm not a person who's particularly familiar with Marvel 3 in that way, and I don't want to gatekeep this information behind that familiarity.
No, for sure.
But we'll cycle back to it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about time, because you mentioned time might be... I'm surprised that you would say time over either space or soul for him, but I believe you as a good stone for him.
So soul just gives him the whip, right? Which is kind of just another poke option, which is something he doesn't really need.
Mm-hmm.
Space is also good. We'll get into that, but specifically just for Spencer himself, best stone that you can pick if you were trying to be more of a Spencer player than anything, right?
Right.
So obviously we saw reality give him more neutral option and control with the surge, and obviously just more damage and pressure overall with the storm, right? He's able to take advantage of that pretty well. With Time Stone, for Spencer, having great movement is already a nice thing, right? Adding another option to your movement to be able to just kind of, you know what I mean, just do what you want and go where you're trying to get, like...
And, like, I imagine if like, you know, someone's trying to catch me... Oops, not the right button. If someone's trying to catch you as Spencer in the air when you're, like, stalling and zipping around, and then you time surge... that is not the button. Here, let me get out of this. If you time surge to get to be like, oh, I'm over here now, you can maybe, like, grapple punish if they're trying to catch you, you know?
Yes.
That's a thing that could happen?
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know what I mean? People are just trying too hard to anticipate your time stone. I mean, even for Spencer himself, like, you know what I mean? It is still a teleport. You can mix with a time surge, like, especially Spencer himself, like, when you use his certain options, like, you can definitely do cross-up mixes off of most of the tools we were speaking of earlier, like grenade into tag, and especially heavy piercer into tag. And you just teleport, you just add yourself a whole new layer of defensive option, just like how Reality Surge does in a different way. You gave yourself a whole new option offensively and defensively. The Storm as well is also very good for Spencer, like I said. So when it comes down to it, like, block the overhead and keep push blocking the overhead. I'm just going to keep doing it so you can see. And it's meaty, like I said. And if you don't keep blocking, and then obviously you can just eventually, when you condition people with that, you can just start going low,
right?
So that you open up a whole new option. And then just with Spencer, like I said, it's just a massive damage immediately off of Time Stone.
Right. Okay, cool. So reality, then time, and then what would you say? I mean, space, soul, and power. Space comes next? Okay.
Definitely space.
Obviously, space, you can use grenade with space to, you know, catch people unexpectedly.
Yes, for sure. But that's the one thing, like, for Spence as well, like, even just being, like, solo, honestly, like, he can do a decent amount with a box.
Go ahead and box me and show some mix.
He can get the usual just type things. Obviously, you still have all the other mix, like that air down forward, zip into low, catches people. And you can just mix that up by going high after it. You can just let's see.
Ooh, all right. So the cross
Things
under,
like that. So you can literally start playing the side-to-side game off the resets with people like that. You can make them guess where you're going, and obviously, you saw like how actually ignorant like his air buttons are right there, because you were at super jump height, and I was able to confirm that off normal jump, right? So I'm getting up in the air with buttons faster at an angle to where you're not going to really be able to swing low enough to counter hit what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a big hitbox.
You'll have to commit more to doing like down techs or things like that, which then that gets into a whole other just mind game ballpark, right? So
you're forcing them to hit preemptive buttons, and then you can punish preemptive buttons.
Right. There's also this setup, like... Oh, it didn't work out that time, but... yeah. Really?
Yeah. Well, there is a timing in there, I'm sure, because it takes a while for the nade to hit me. You probably just need to delay it some.
You can do the heavy kick nade too, you know what I mean? It's more of just people seeing the nade go up and kind of the...
Right. They see the nade and they're like, I have to block, can't up back, this meaty, and then you just command grab super them.
You can also just use the nade too.
Right,
like
left,
stuff
right,
like
then
that.
space
Just
surge,
yeah,
stuff
just
like that.
yeah, for sure. You don't even have to surge. You could just do down zip right back into just same side them right away.
Okay. So yeah,
But that's pretty much it.
he's like reasonable in the box as a character, or with the box as a character. Like he has
Oh
some
yeah, for
mixed
sure.
options.
And his damage gets better as well because then you have the ability to actually link this mid-screen. You don't have to worry about your screen positioning. You can get double maneuvers off a hit. And as you can see, maneuvers is animation, so it makes my box time last longer while
Right.
it's doing me the super
Cinematic
damage
supers,
like that.
pausing the timer.
Yes.
Right.
So it enables him to be able to get more damage and to be able to kind of help stall the box a little bit. That's one of his best things. He also fights very well against box, kind of.
Sure,
It
I
depends on
believe
where
that.
you are, like, but you know what I mean. Like you can, yeah, stuff like that. Just like air grapples. Like when you're in the box, you don't really. If you want to box me real quick. So like stuff like this, you know what I mean? I don't go anywhere.
Right.
So I just have all these full screen pokes that I don't have to technically commit to anymore. Just aside from like, so like against air characters like Ultrons and stuff, like you can put air buttons like that out there. Like you can literally just do jump and like start grappling like this and just cover a large portion of the screen.
Right.
Stuff
And the
like
fact that
that
you can confirm it too is nice. Like if you get the hit, you can because you can. I forget how do you. Yeah, there's a different button
yeah,
supposed
and
to press.
it pulls you closer to be able to do stuff. I mean,
Yeah, you can do that. Is what I was saying.
mhm.
So cool. He's box is a thing.
Yeah, so
Power.
Spencer can do stuff solo. He can do it solo. He's obviously not going to be as good as like what Jetta does for me or what Dante would do for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
or how Tyson's team is having like good double anchor potential.
He's not the strongest anchor, but he can anchor if you need him to.
Yes, for sure. If you're playing clean enough and you're feeling it, you can definitely make the comeback. He does good like I said, he does all the damage. Like you can do it with him.
Right, and he can
got it.
he can self assist with nades and a couple other setup tools.
Yes, he can play the 1v1.
And he can use comeback stones reasonably.
Yes.
Let's talk power versus soul. Which do you like better? For him.
I really don't like either for him, to be honest. Like power gives him what it gives every other character, right, which is more damage, but he already does high damage in general anyways.
Does he not have any block strings that are like without push block become completely dumb?
Power Storm for Spencer does relatively almost nothing for you. I'm not exactly sure how Power Storm affects like some of his frame data for certain things. Like if you can actually abuse mix up close and Power Storm like that.
It shouldn't change frame data. It just negates push block.
I see. So yeah, he really doesn't have any strings or anything offensively that allows him to take advantage of Power Storm, like really at all.
Okay.
It just gives him.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he could like cancel he can't cancel buttons into zip, can he? In a way that's like plus. Not in a way that's plus. Okay.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Well, I mean, and when it comes to like things of like how he's like a zip character, and maybe people don't really want to get too intricate with confirming off of random zips in the air like this, right? What people fail to miss is like his zip doesn't work like how a Spider-Man or like how a Venom zip is. When you zip, it has the least amount of hit stun of the three, and it's a full commitment to where you were just placed at, and you're not safe until you actually fully recover. You know what I mean? Like
you can't. That's surprising that even though his zip is a kick zip, he cannot cancel. It's not special cancelable.
You have to do like the back zips. You know what I mean? Or like.
Right.
Or just the up zip kind of, and you can cancel that midway.
Oh yeah, you can cancel that. Ooh, and you get some drift out of it too. Okay, so I would posit that Soul is probably better than Power for him because he already has... Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure.
He already has good buttons, and his zip doesn't break armor, to my knowledge. And so against matchups where he needs to break armor, like Sigma or Hulk, having that long-range armor break poke into tag, like I think that... Soul Surge is a really good surge, personally.
I definitely agree with you. Like, there's really no downside to like a Soul Surge. Like, it's just a very large hitbox. You know what I mean? That when you hit somebody, deals damage and heals your character slightly. Like, it's super good. And I definitely think it's the Surge is okay for Spencer. The Storm for Soulstorm, when it comes to Spencer, is the part where you're just really not going to be able to optimize that too much, to be honest.
I would imagine it wouldn't be hard to desync with how committal Zip is. Like you could zip and then the other character, if you do like hold tag zip, if he's the point with Soul, you could do something where like the other character can press whatever buttons they want while he's zipping and then whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, like you can definitely probably get something going. When it comes down to it, in all honesty, I'm not too familiar with Soul. Like I never really messed around with.
Okay, it may just not be as
Soulstone
explored for the character.
Yeah, I definitely think that's more of how I would put it. Like when it comes down to it, you're right. Like you can definitely figure out how to do the desync stuff into just some kind of pressure, and obviously getting sandwiched. He does have the high-low,
Yeah.
so he can just set up the high-low sandwich, unblockables, whatever. Like he's got some stuff, but like you know what I mean. It's like setting all of it up.
It's no Nova
might be
Gamora
awkward.
where you just mash down heavy punch and you're golden.
Yeah, you're not gonna have any options like that.
Right.
Like
That makes sense.
you really have to think about, you know what I mean? Like especially like I think it's just true for Storm in general. Like you really have to think about your team and what's happening when you're pressing all the buttons, right?
Yeah, you definitely you're controlling two characters at the same time, and you really have to be cognizant of that.
Yes, but the Spencer bringing back up Spencer's unique options like zips and certain other things that complicates the Soul Storm, practice by a whole other level. In my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, so I was
Because
just like
you just have so much more, I feel like, inputs per minute that you need to do, because to keep Jeddah safe right there, you'd have to cancel into like a special move or some kind of fly move.
yeah,
And try and do it with enough time that
that might
you're
just be a
able
Jeddah
to-
thing, though. But yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying.
For sure.
Is that, like you're
For sure.
piloting two characters. It's got to be weird. The thing he does have, I wouldn't surprise me if he has partners that he could do interesting things with, but it would be a lot of work. Like I imagine, like Dante probably wouldn't be bad because I think this is teleport input, so you could just do armor piercer and you
Yes.
get teleport armor piercer, and that's probably
Yes.
gross. Cool. All right, so let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So Surge is good. Like, it gives him that one other thing, just like another good poke. Another stall out move that he can use to be able to, just cancel zipping around and just putting a poke out there. Keeping his block strings and stuff like that pressure safe. But yes, the Soulstorm potential is very unexplored. And just when it comes down to it, like it just seems not as worth it overall for the character. Like I think you're better off playing other characters with him or just other stone matchups.
Can you get hit by this hit grab for me? I want to see how this works. I'm just not familiar with the character. Okay, so that is a full animated hit grab that if you hit with mid combo, you can sneak some space surges in there or something.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because some characters have hit grabs, some don't. Okay, so that's Soul. Mind, probably the worst. He's not a good meter dump character. None of his supers are lockdown supers. He doesn't need another command grab. He's already got two. And they're better than Mind, probably. So Mind's just not a... I mean, it gives him an air command grab, I guess, which I don't think he has, but, like, not a great stone for him.
No, it's not good. Like everything you said is completely true. Not a good meter dump character. Like he doesn't really abuse meter like that in this game. He just does damage, and he can have a underrated and pretty good bust out actually.
Cool.
But
so
that's about it.
Let's talk about that. Let's get off of stones, and we'll talk about his supers and how he spends meter. So let's give you space again. Supers. Obviously, bionic arm. Pretty good bust out, yeah?
So people, obviously it's not, it's Marvel 3 counterpart, which most people will be familiar with, I'm sure, which is basically 2/3, about 3/4 of the screen invincible bust out option that has a lot of invincibility on it. Basically, almost on the entirety of the move. In this game, it obviously doesn't work like that. You do need to be up close for its invincibility to actually be registering at a range where it's going to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not something that you just throw out in reaction to things that are happening full screen to blow through them, and you know what I mean, like how.
Okay, so this isn't like Cart or like Cap. Actually, does Cap Charging Star have the same kind of weird thing where if he doesn't hit at the start of it, he doesn't get the invulnerability?
So that actually does not happen for Spencer. So he actually has the property. Sorry, it has the property of Cap's super of Hypercharging Star to where whenever you make contact with something, it extends the invulnerability by a little bit.
Okay,
so it's especially this move. It's especially effective against whenever people are tagging on you to continue their pressure.
I see. Can he get if I tag off of this? Or sorry, assume do it to me and show me how you would pick up.
Oh, just off a raw pickup.
Yeah, well, like let's assume I'm doing like pressure into you. I get hit by this. How do you continue? You just tag, crash, and go to town. Okay.
You unfortunately, if they're grounded like that, you don't get a pickup. But
does it lead to a decent birthday? Do both characters OTG after if I birthday myself here?
Both characters will still OTG. You do get birthday off of it.
Okay. Okay, so it's a bust out with birthday. It's is it invulnerable all the way up to the first hit? So can it be meatied like a Mora or a Nova?
It cannot.
Okay, so it's a true
bust out. Yes, it's a true bust out that has invincibility on it. Truly, whenever you make the input, it can't be meatied. It's a reliable bust out. Mm-hmm. It's just the invulnerability from it doesn't last long. So it's like it can't be meatied, but if you're putting something meaty out and I do it, I'm not going to go through if you're right in front of me.
Right. Don't do it into Dorm level 3 or something.
Yes. So like Ultron like pink ball into tag, like if I do Bionic Arm because he tagged, and they just push block the Bionic Arm, like the orb, Heat Dome hits meaty enough to where he'll block the Bionic Arm, and then I'll be getting counter hit from doing the Bionic Arm. So it's not a go through everything. It's not a punch walk super for like Nemesis. But when you make contact with something, it does carry it does extend the invincibility on it a little bit.
Okay, and then the other super he's got is this guy. I'll get hit by it. You do it.
Oh.
So I saw you could link this twice in space. This seems to be the move that you do actually going for damage in a combo. I don't see people going for Bionic Arm for damage.
No, for sure. This is your damage dealer.
Yeah.
It has high damage. It does good damage even at like high scaling. Same as it is still still similar to its Marvel 3. It's not like unscaled like how it is in that game, but it scales very well throughout. That's main damage dealer, and him not having a a hit level 3. Mm-hmm. This move really helps kind of make up for the damage. And the reason that he's able to link supers is one of the reasons of why I say that Spencer can make anchor situations happen.
Sure, that makes sense because he can, prevent counterattack by linking supers. I assume is that what you're getting at?
Yes, right? Definitely.
Okay. And then, so those are those two things, and then he's got obviously the command grab level 3. So, as a meter spend character. Or as a character, when you want to spend meter, like, my general high-level theory of this game is, unless you're, like, really trying to bring them to 10% life and make them uncomfortable, you generally don't spend meter unless you're killing, and like, if you're spending a bunch of meter, it's to specifically lock out countertag. Does that hold true for him as well, or are there situations where you do want to spend meter in combo even though you're not going to kill?
It's you definitely want I would agree with your theory there. You definitely don't want to be spending your meter with Spence unless you're in the specific situation of committing to a Bionic Arm on defense, Obviously you can use it offensively too if you're playing like a clown. But most of the
Right.
time, you're going to be trying to use this defensively to catch people pressuring you too hard or making bad tags
Hmm.
and reversing the pressure and the momentum on them right away in the snap.
Do
So
you
go
do you
ahead.
like to use Bionic Arm as a this pressure is too scary, get me out of here thing? Like obviously with Lockdown Super, from Bane or stealth teams, you don't really get that opportunity. But like for teams that aren't just shooting you full screen and where you can, just bust out of the mix, is that some like it for Tyson's team, for example? If Tyson's trying to put you in mix, will you Bionic Arm just to get out of it, or is Bionic Arm
Oh,
a super where if he has like setups to prevent that by like crossing you up or something?
so it can still be baited in the same way of how Bane can do with Chun, right?
Uh huh.
But that's pretty character specific, right? Like not really everybody just gets to do it like that, right? Like she can jump it. It can be jumped, obviously, but like for sure, like no, you can definitely rely on it as a get off me tool
Okay.
in
And
pressure like that for sure. Especially like how I said with the like how it has the hypercharging star similarity, like where if you're colliding with something, that it just makes it that much more durable, right? That kind of situation because it also has a lot of hit stop on it. So
hmm,
you don't just sail through and pierce right away. You hit and make contact with Bionic Arm, and then the next character will get hit after that. It doesn't
cool.
stack up. So it creates weird situations. But the
Gamma
interesting
Charge
thing
can kind of do the
actually,
same thing.
yes, exactly like how Gamma charges. But interestingly enough, mentioning earlier Bane and Stealth's team options with Lockdown Super, the interesting part of how this super works is that it pushes him forward, and the invincibility lasts long enough to push his character hitbox forward in front of you. So when people do super tag, you can technically do Bionic Arm and tag on the same frame,
And you'll just
and
throw him forward, and your other
it
guy doesn't
throws
get
him
hit.
forward, and we all know that the bullets don't pierce, right?
Hmm.
So then he's now getting hit, and your other character is technically out behind him. Like, so
So
you
you
have to
can
be
get out.
careful with this option because it does. If you do it on the same frame, your character's technically tagging out before you're being covered by Spencer's. So you
Hmm.
are going to be getting hit when coming in with this option. But the arm will still come out.
Right.
So it can create a weird like scramble situation even for yourself.
I imagine if you roll in and they don't quite get full screen with their lockdown character, you could maybe even catch them with the arm. I don't know. Or is it
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes, for sure. Exactly like how you're saying. If people are a little bit too committal to the knockdown, backdash, and then super tag option, and they're not mixing in you can get out either way, right? If you guess right
Hmm.
on your roll, when you're getting up, rolling forward, you can punch through them, or you can uh,
If
bust
they,
out and then tag
right,
from behind, right?
right,
So you
right, right.
stop it either way. But yeah, you
Okay.
can definitely do that.
Okay, cool. So, in while we're on this last little thing, I want to talk about if you do a high enough damage combo, do his supers become unsafe? This is universally usually pretty true, but I just want to cover it. Like, I don't know if you just do like the highest damage combo you can do with him using partner or whatever, and you end in either arm or maneuvers. Is this maneuvers? I think.
Yeah.
Can the opponent flip out in a way where they can hold air forward tech and mash tag and just completely obliterate you?
So I'm honestly not like too super sure. I haven't had this
Okay,
interaction a lot, but
because
people
like
kind of forget. In situations, from what I've seen, most of the time, like it's kind of like a knowledge check thing I'll do and see if people are actually paying attention or not to
hmm,
like what the hit stun actually is when I do super like that. So I'm gonna do a combo right now. I'll just do a nice good chunky combo into the double maneuvers, and after the second maneuvers, just hold up forward and mash tag, and we'll see what happens.
okay.
Okay.
Whoop.
Ah, damn it.
Try again. So the interesting thing here is OTG has not been used yet in the combo because of all the zips. And then Piercer, and that's OTG, and do it again, holding up
So
forward.
hold up forward, mash tag.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, but you're safe.
So it's actually safe, so yeah.
Wow, that recovers fast. Okay.
It does actually recover pretty fast, so I can you can use this for like weird HSD type stuff if you're feeling really freaky about it.
Yeah.
But,
it may be the case that if I hadn't tagged forward and I had neutral tagged and been mashing tag, I might have been able to catch you, but it would have been close.
Right. So think of it as a possible way that he can meter dump can be abused with this. Like if you have a character like Ultron or Gamora that have very, very long supers, right? And those characters are very good, as Tyson has shown, as being able to do like 1-2 super, right? And it pays off dividends in damage and just pressure and things like that.
Right.
For Spencer, you can do, you can just do that, and it's an animation, so it cuts off the current animation of whatever your other character's doing. So if you did Dante gun super, and then tag, and you immediately do bionic maneuvers, you'll hit them back in, and it'll be the very beginning of the Dante
Right,
super.
because
So
it pauses the other super. Yeah, I could see that.
Yes, so you can do the 1-2 into super and potentially have the option to meter dump and just get massive damage and kill a character from just random stray
you could probably dump 4 bars with Gamora off of that until Blue Spark. So interesting. Okay. The main thing I wanted to cover there is I wanted to confirm that like neither of these here get hit by Bionic Arm. Let me just see how it ends. I wanted to confirm that neither of these are definitely not are like Ghost Rider Whip Super, where it just is immune to all HSD flip out. But it sounds like they're not. Awesome.
Definitely not.
So that's meter details for him. Let's move on to medium details. So his neutral plan. Where does he like to be? What's his preferred range on the screen?
In my opinion, the best place for him on screen is somewhere around in like the mid range. Around kind of
So
like
not
right
full
here,
screen,
you know what I mean?
but like.
So it depends, right? Like obviously in like a 2v1, like he can run away pretty well with just grenades and the ability for movement because of the arc of grenades and stuff like that. So it is true what I said when I say you can play him in any way that you want to. Like as we said, we've seen Drip and Mango kind of play more of like a reserved, like full screen kind of game, more so.
But basically, at a distance where you can threaten zip in a way where they can't like immediately be on top of you. So if someone's able to maul you, you want to basically be able to throw out your grapples and your zips and sort of engage neutral from out here. You wouldn't want to be like this close for neutral. You would want this to be sort of more your turn area. Well, obviously he can scrap.
Yes, definitely.
But you don't want to be that close unless it's already your turn.
Yeah, so like honestly, like the farther you are away playing neutral with him, the safer that you technically are. So, like
I would imagine
the farther away that you are when you zip, the more punishable you are. Like what people don't understand about zips is they are not plus. I cannot technically just down zip from super jump height full screen and do like that, and it's gonna hit you every time. I was far away from you in the spacing of it right there, but if I do down forward zip and you have the timing right, you can throw punish it every time.
Okay.
It's tricky, right? Because as you've seen, like the zip can hit you at a spacing where you're not technically in grab range, depending on your character. So that's what people. That's also the mix-up of it. Is when I do this, I'm going to do Piercer afterward. You'll see any Spencer player do this. And into Piercer. You're going to see any Spencer player, like, when you're in this range, they're going to jump back, and if I see you holding forward, I'm just going to be doing down zip forward Piercer, because it's a very quick poke into an instantly fast confirm or just pressure tool.
Yeah, and it's like such a big, like, it's such a little risk for you and such a big win for them. Like, if it works out and they try to like, grab punish and screw it up, you know, at best case scenario for them, they grabbed you. Like for most teams, Like there are certainly teams that can get a lot off a grab, but most teams don't. So if you land the piercer, you're just like, oh, that's full damage, Oki set play. That's like a win condition basically.
Yes. But that's the thing that people fail to think about sometimes, is that these are a commitment. You know what I mean? Like, you could usually kind of guess what's going to be happening when I'm zipping at you in certain angles. Like, I do have to commit to where I'm going. So like that full screen, if you see that happening and you're anticipating it, you're going to get up there and you're going to air to air, or you're going to be able to get a grab or whatever it is that you're thinking, right? Same thing as grappling hooks. Like, these take a long time to come back to you. Like, look at that. Look at how much... That was on reaction. You know what I mean? Like,
that was a really late reaction. Yeah.
Yes, too. And I was punished. So even, like, that's why I say full screen is best, because then they have as much time as physically possible in the game that they have to be able to cover smoothly movement-wise to get up and punish you. It depends on who they are, right? But
it's also reasonably difficult for them to punish a tag. If you need a tag to make it, if you feel like you need a tag to make it safe, like it's hard. There are a few characters certainly that can meaty your tag on reaction to that sort of thing, but there aren't many.
Right. So you he wants to be kind of in that longer, kind of like mid-range area, and you kind of want to like try and either just use your movement to move around people and keep it at a distance where you might feel safe, just like poking at people with grapple hooks. Like, you don't have to engage, but you're definitely not going to win a projectile war. Like, with that move, it becomes obsolete against characters like Bucky or, maybe Hawkeye. Like, you might be able to sneak one in there, but it's not going to be, like, you know what I mean? Like, Drip is not going to be able to... You're not going to be able to throw this out three times in a row against Winter Soldier or Gamora. Like, if you miss one, you're probably going to get hit or pressured.
Yeah, your turn has ended against those characters.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So you want to be kind of like longer range, and then, my opinion, the most dangerous that he can be is obviously up close, and then you just start scrambling people out with offensive options.
Right. When they already know they can't press buttons into you, you just kind of come in with, zip down into. Is zip down forward? Is this plus? Or like plus enough that it's dangerous to press buttons on?
Oh yeah, like up close like that. When I'm doing it like that, it's straight up. Like, you don't want to. Oh, okay. See, like that, you can grab punish like.
Oh, but you can command grab as a reaction. Ooh, that was
like that.
That's nasty.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you're in the right areas too, yeah, you can definitely get like the cross up zip on people.
I'm just OS push block and grab so that I can see what's real. Oof.
Yeah, so it's like.
Ooh, now.
And then it's like, if I just do it like that, it's like, just.
Yeah.
See,
I know it's
definitely
Yeah, you can grab it, but it's definitely like probably not worth it. It's kind of where I'm at. Like, unless you're playing a Hawkeye team or a Strange team or a Dorm team, like those three teams, I can totally see you like, oh yeah, I grabbed. Now I set play and you're dead.
Yeah.
But like if you're Tyson's team doesn't get that much off a grab. I don't think Bane's team can get some stuff off a grab, but like anyway.
It depends where Tyson's team is, but Gamora can definitely get everything off a grab. She gets it free, but.
Yeah, you're right. She can. You're right. Okay, so I guess
you want to be fuller screen, kind of trying to poke people out and get a free combo. But in my opinion, the best place that he is in a place where you can abuse his up close options. Like, honestly, like trying to get people to fight you in the air is kind of where it's at. Like, you just have like a lot of good air type buttons. Like, he's a scrapper character in my opinion.
It feels like to me, he loves to just kind of hover around about wherever heavy punch zip would hit on the ground is kind of where he wants to be.
Yes.
Like that, about that spacing, about that distance, because he can threaten that area, he can threaten this area, like he can threaten straight across, he can zip wherever, he can move in on you and like use tag, stuff like that.
Yes.
That's where it feels like to me. So let's talk a little bit about his options. We've been covering a lot of the full screen options. Obviously, completely full screen. He doesn't get. If you ground, does this hit full screen? It does. Okay, so full screen.
And you get the full confirm.
Okay. And is that real? Is there a way of confirming movement zip grounded full screen?
Let's see. I think just that. I think you do get enough space actually if you want a quick reset.
There's no good reset for online, so
I think you might be able to. So that's full screen, right?
yeah. Okay, so
You don't, but you'll get pressure. Depends on who your character is, right? I think maybe Dante could possibly get a stinger in there and start doing things.
Yeah, I could definitely see doing that with tag, but he can't solo confirm that zip. So basically, you're gonna do the forward light punch, and that's basically his only, and that and nades, right? Like the heavy nade are like his full screen options. Let's talk about mid screen options. So if he's mid screen, let's say this spacing roughly. Obviously, he can dash in because mid a little bit outside of dash range. Obviously, that's gonna be different, but dash.
He can
jab.
start playing foot. He can start playing footsies kind of around this area.
His ground movement is so good that he can definitely do that. Obviously, he's still got all the zips. He has the jump down forward zip at this range too. So a lot of good options there. I probably nading at this spacing is less safe, not as good of an idea.
Definitely not.
But he can obviously do dash up, light kick, dash up, sweep. Because his ground movement is so good, it's very easy for him to, in the blink of an eye, be on top of you when he's at mid range. And obviously, light piercer and heavy piercer are good tools in this range, especially heavy piercer in this range, because it's hard. It's just such a big hitbox. It can contest a lot of stuff. You would have to do it with tag, and it wouldn't be like your necessary go-to. But if you have a read on them, it's a tool that puts out a big hitbox at that range. You agree with that more or less?
You can definitely use it in the aspect of kind of like, it's almost kind of like moves with long startup like that in this game. Almost kind of like, for example, I would say like how with Chris, if you're out of magnum shots and you do reload tag, he'll reload the magnum and then take the shot afterward, right? And you just have a bunch of this random time. Like, it kind of works on a Marvel 3 assist like that, where it's kind of like you call it out and then you're like doing stuff already and it's like covering you in a strange way. So you can definitely do that. Like, you can definitely do this and then tag and then just like see what people are doing, you know what I mean? And just have this large hitbox winding up behind you. So that's not wrong, but it's more... I'd be more in this mid-range just trying to close distance, honestly, and just try and get some buttons going, so then I can actually confirm the pressure instead of just...
I can definitely see that as being the preferred thing to do at that range. Cool. Yeah, basically my view is any move with a lot of startup is an excellent assist or support tool.
When you're mid to close range, that's when you're pushing buttons at this point. Like, that's when you're up close and you're scrapping and you're trying to get a solid clean hit confirm of some kind. Like, and when you're mid range, like, that's when you're going in and you're trying to press the advantage, or you're deciding to go back out and go for more of a pokey type neutral again.
And it's very easy for him if he's mid-range and he doesn't like the situation. That backdash is just, boom, he's gone. And he's full screen.
Yeah.
And he's
just
full screen.
super jump, dash back, or just a nice short hop dash back into some zips can get you wherever you might want to go.
Okay, so let's talk close-up options then. Since the mid-screen is basically getting to close-up. Close-up, you like jab. Obviously, if you're worried that they're going to be pressing a button and it's their turn, or you think their pressure's fake, 3-frame piercer's good.
Yes.
We talked about the overhead and the low. I think this down forward heavy punch is really good. It seems it catches up back on some of the cast from what I can tell.
It definitely catches up. It is a genuine sweep. It hits low. It's a little bit more meaty than a crouching sweep because of just the angle of the swing. And it does catch people off sometimes in between, like, the startup of, like, the overhead or not, because of just him cocking the arm back so much. Kind of can catch people. Like, you can kind of blitz people out. But it does have enough hit stun, like, as a hit like that, to where you can swing it and confirm it after the fact that it happened. So as you're saying, you can link it into a stand jab.
Okay. So you don't necessarily have to special cancel it.
No. But, that
is a hard link. There we go. It's like a Black Panther link.
It's not too bad. But I guess, but you don't even have to do the link, right? Like you could just do light piercer. Like
Yeah,
you have
you can
more
just
than enough
confirm it
time
into
to.
whatever.
If you're throwing the button consciously and you're not flow charting and you're using it for what it's meant for, which is to basically just be a large, low swinging button that when you hit, you should have enough time to confirm that it was either pressure. Or it was either blocked and you're gonna have to cancel or do some other kind of pressure, or that you can confirm. You just have all the time in the world to just be like, oh, I hit, like that. Look at that. Look at how delayed that was. Like, it's literally just like, oh, I didn't hit. Look at that. Zip out.
Okay.
That is also the button of how you set up like comboing into heavy piercer as well. That button specifically because of how much hit stun it has on it. So,
woo! You
need to be able to use that button to start heavy piercer loops, which is his highest damaging. Much.
Okay. Cool. Okay, so that's the up close stuff. Let's talk about now that we've got the option. Oh, go ahead.
When you are up close, I would say this is a good little time to get into like I think his buttons because of he doesn't have too much of his special move options up close aren't very good, right? We've established like some of them are manageable, but you're not really going to be doing that much, right? So like when it comes to just playing the scrap range like that, like I said, you have to kind of rely more on his button. So stand jab, very good button just for like having a quick hitbox come out, like to be able to catch people like dashing around or just jumping over you even. Stand light kick, the knee. This carries you forward. This has forward momentum, so you know what I mean. Like you can kind of poke out with that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Look at that! Look at that! Walk forward right into that, and then if you carry that with your dash momentum, it's not a bad like poke out either. You can kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Obviously, like I said, stand heavy. Look, you see how active it was? How I threw it out and then you dashed into it. This move is super active.
That move seems really good.
It also has deceptively good range to it, somewhat. Heavy kick. So this stand heavy kick, this button has a very high over the head hitbox.
Can you crouch? Does it whiff? No,
it can on some characters.
Okay.
It can on some characters, so you do have to be careful, like using this as a pressure button, because it will whiff on smaller people. But this button can be used for confirming weird, like air-to-airs, or hits wherever character, like if somebody's like jumping around you and you're scrambling and you're just trying to get a button out right and you're like jabbing somebody in a jump arc and they start going too high, this.
Oh yeah, and then you can get into zip.
This button reaches up very, very high, and it has the hit stun required for you to be able to start comboing into zip loops.
Yeah.
What the heck
so is that
down,
for?
down forward light punch is essentially a similar kind of button. So if you want to jump in the air, this button will.
It hits
this
pretty
button
high.
Has a deceptively high up hitbox.
That's like a decent anti-air, and most people don't have that.
Yeah, like we'll check its range real quick. So just keep hopping. I'll try and poke around a little bit. So yeah, you can kind of just like, you know what I mean? Like you can use this as like a poke button. Like, look at that. You can kind of use this. It's almost like a somewhat of like a pseudo anti-air. It's not the most reliable because we know characters in this game don't have hitboxes on their legs when they're in the air, right? So it's risky to throw this move out and use it, try and abuse it.
I wouldn't challenge box dash with that.
This move, the reason you don't see it a lot is because this is a command move and you have to do down forward light punch. So the fact of it being a down forward move like that, you don't want if you're trying to do dash jab, you know what I mean? Like you don't want that move coming out instead because it's got a higher up hitbox. It doesn't have like it's got more of a vertical hitbox, not horizontal like what you would want and like a dash up button. Not like you're doing like with a dash up knee or even maybe a dash up sweep like can do alright as a poke because his sweep also carries forward momentum. So you'll see me using this move sometimes as like a slightly like of a Kara move because it does carry him forward a little bit with each hit. Yeah, you see that?
Yeah. No, I can definitely see that.
Okay. But this move right here, it can be used somewhat as an anti-air-ish a little bit. Like if you're having somebody boxed, you know what I mean? And they're just like, you're just kind of like hogging this range, like seeing what they're doing and they're just like jumping around. You can kind of use it like that. You can kind of because you see right there, like you almost kind of like connected with it, right? But like you see how tucked away Spencer is. He kind of tucks his hurt box away a little bit, so it can be kind of used as an anti-air a little bit. It's just it's slightly unreliable, and because of the fact it's a forward forward. You know what I mean? That doesn't give you as much control over yourself as you would like, unfortunately. So you're not going to see this move a lot, but there is confirms with this move that you can use that Spaz found to set up like side switch combos if you want. So
Okay.
it's like,
Yeah, I could see that.
uh,
And then you do the move after, but
yeah,
you gotta...
do-
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I can definitely see there being some funky routes that take advantage of that for cool side switch and stuff. So let's talk about...
Right. It's a little unnecessary because he kind of just gets free corner carry with zip loops, but you know what I mean? It's still a thing to know.
It's still a thing to know. It's a really interesting thing. I want to talk about pressure, because we talked about the up-close options. Let's talk about some pressure sequences. So what are some like, what are your basic pressure sequences? It's your turn. I'm blocking. What are you doing to me? Like, what are your go-tos? Obviously, you did some zip down jump stuff. You did like jab.
I'm gonna
sweep.
so jab into sweep obviously is gonna be like the push block bait setup, right? And if they push block the jab, you still have the sweep will still connect. So it's like you have that safe pressure right there. So it's like, look at that, you're out, right?
Yeah.
You're literally like you're just back to playing neutral. They push block, you can kind of have time to maybe get a nade out and a tag.
Okay.
And then after that, you can also start setting people up, right? You can kind of like just do like the back off and then like, oh shit. And then you can kind of set up hooks to see if people are trying to dash up after that when they think you're backing away. So it's like,
right, you condition them into thinking you're always zipping away, and then you throw out
yeah.
the
So you
hook
can
and...
you can confirm that they push block and then just kind of wait for a sec. And then if they're moving around too much, like trying to jump or do something, they'll get hit.
Got it. Okay. So, jab sweep, definitely a good option. And then I assume...
Even just straight jab, 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 you know what I mean, is not bad. Like, having a mashable jab is very good, in my opinion, obviously, always. Like, it's just easy pressure, easy confirm. Like, boom, 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 look at that. I can straight up just be like, oh, you're blocking, I don't feel like dealing with this, like, whatever, I'm out. Or just be like, boom, pressure. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in now. Tag into Jetta, do some stuff, like, get the pressure going, try and get the snowball.
I see. So how would you... Oh, go ahead.
Jab into down light kick. That. Frame trap. Set people up. So, like, I'll kind of use... I honestly like to use tick jab to set up a lot of things, right? So, like, that's where, like, the jab sweep comes into, right? It's tick jab. Yeah, you can do the arm like this. That also is a very good tick jab. I like to use that a little bit more often when I'm feeling like I want to try and actually mix and get a hit on people, as opposed to doing jab sweep for like pressure situations. It's a frame trap, so like if people are push block, trying to push block in between the jab, you'll counter hit them with the sweep. And then like we said already, with that move, you have enough time to be able to like confirm your pressure off of it in a way, right? So that should be kind of like what you might want to go for most of the time, is like some nice, or just jabs, or just a nice heavy button. Like you said, like,
so you basically do, like, you like to go to start with jabs in your sequences, and then basically mix in either overhead, crouch low, sweep, and then do conditioning with zip. You generally like to end sequences with zip away. And then now you're full screen. You're in your comfort zone. You're back where you want to be. You throw zips. You throw grenades. You do whatever. You're back to full screen neutral. And so you're like, bop, bop, bop. This isn't working for me. Do you ever get caught? Do you worry about getting caught? Like doing, like, that into back zip. I imagine that like some characters can catch you there.
You can definitely get caught, but most of the time of what people are going to be expecting from you is to tag and to do other options, right? Like grenade into tag, like, can be pretty powerful, you know what I mean? Like, it is just like a nice backup, like, hitbox coming in, and using the hit stun on it just allows you to get a nice, just chunky hit confirm off of that. So it's like, so it is a risk. Like I said, whenever you're zipping, it's always a risk. It's always a commitment. If you miss, or if people are ready to throw you out of it or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, pressure you like that, like, it is what it is. Like, it's it's a commitment. You gotta be a little bit sparing with it. That's why I don't really like to do it as much as some other Spencer players. But I have my moments, right? I have my placements for it. But
definitely. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about we talked about some of the pressure stuff that you can do with him. What do you do to like rebuy or reset your pressure? Can he do that solo? I don't know that he can. I mean, obviously you can probably just like do this into jab jump again or something. I don't know. He can't really
because
jump
of how
anything,
many.
so.
No, he can't. So because of like of how quick zip is as an option, right? Like you can use zip to kind of like push your way in. Like
I guess you can do up forward zip on standing characters, like.
Oh, for sure, but under with characters that are small enough, you're going under, and it keeps you turned around, so you're getting somebody
hit.
Who's ready is going to hit you. Yeah. So
is that? Can you do shit in the corner off of that?
Off like the up forward zip, you can. Depending on how like early you do it, right? So like stuff like that.
Okay, so that's like a baby rebuy sequence for just continuing your pressure, assuming they don't push block well.
Yeah, but he doesn't really have too much stuff like that. Like when it comes down to it, like you confirming people, like setting up people for push block stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's more better to usually just go for the frame trap stuff or the tick setups that eventually lead to conditioning. So the way I see it is, it's like when I do tick into overhead enough times, you know what I mean? You're going to see that when I do jab, I'm going to overhead you after. The overhead can be thrown. You can jab. You can do anything, right? Like even if I hit you with the jab, if I do overhead and you're mashing grab, you're going to grab me through it. So it's like,
yeah.
Or you could literally just mash jab even, and I think you'll still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so look at that. You got counter hit. You could do whatever you want. You just basically killed me, right? Like for just trying to apply pressure and open you up. So at that point, that's whenever your pressure starts becoming.
Right. So it sounds
your
like
pressure starts becoming jab into these low frame trap options that are starting to mix it up more, right? And then after that, even when they start getting to blocking that, that's when it comes down to throwing hooks in. But it's like, depending on which hook you throw in, right? Like they look the same on startup. You can't tell the difference between what's that and what's that until after it's kind of happened, right? So it's like
you're talking. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so grappling hook special move and like just the straight up like kick zip move is it's like, you know what I mean? It's like if you push block me out, it's like, you know what I mean? There you go. If we're more full screen, it's gonna be safer, right? So it's like.
Okay.
It's like, so it's like pretty much like, yeah, you start setting people up with like the frame trap stuff, and then you can get your mix-ups back in when you start conditioning enough them the other way. You know what I mean? You can do that. That to high.
Do you go for stagger sequences where you like, you know, do like jab, like, you know, like slow down your buttons so that you catch like push block timings that you've conditioned?
So the jab into sweep with the heavy punch and the heavy kick sweep, those are both built-in staggers.
Okay,
and
so
that's why
by virtue of I see.
Yeah,
so you don't actually have to change, like you don't have to delay buttons manually. You just change which buttons you're doing, and they give you the stagger.
Yes.
Got it.
Most characters in this game don't have the ability to combo their light punch into their heavy punch. So for most characters in the game, light punch into heavy punch is a built-in like auto stagger. Look at that.
Got it.
I'm doing that as fast as I can. It doesn't stagger. If you push block the jab and you're like trying to push block, it's gonna, and then you just get put into some situations.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay,
but
cool.
When people start push blocking that's when you start mixing up like your grapple specialing move or even like this specialing move. You know what I mean? Because it's like people see this and it's like they think you're either going to be grappling and staying in place, or you're going to be moving towards them. So people are basically having to guess or like react in different variables of timings depending on where your spacing is. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, you just like block the air grapple, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like this is how Drip and Mango like to do it. Like when people start getting close to this mid range, then it's just like then you're just down forward zip into pressure, like maybe back up again, but it's like. Boom, look at that. Like, you couldn't really tell what was happening until it was already happening, right?
Yeah, is the air-to-air kick zip plus, or could I have pressed a button there and won?
You could have pushed a button there.
Okay.
So if I do it full screen on you and you push block, you'll stagger in the air and you'll have enough time to maybe get a scoop, or something like that. Like the grapple does not have a lot of hit stun on it. It's not Spider-Man. It's not Venom. I can't hit you full screen and follow up with safe pressure. Like it's yeah.
So I'm letting Spencer players get away with a lot of stuff that ain't real.
Yes,
That's what I'm hearing.
I traditionally, yeah. Like I said, like when people are doing like overhead, like piercer at you, there's answers to that. When people are zipping at you too much, there's answers to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you if I miss, like if they miss one of these, you know what I mean? That's your condition to go in. Like what the problem is people just aren't ready and aren't reacting fast enough to the tools that he's using.
Okay. So I want to talk about tag sequences. So show me how you get Jetta in with Spencer. I'm blocking. You're playing Spencer. You want to get in with Jetta. Maybe Spencer's low on health. Like, do you want to be close when you do that? Do you want to be far when you do that? What is your?
He can be far away. So exactly like how we were talking. Like that's Spencer's thing, right? Is like he can play all angles. He can play any play style, but his main game plan is to poke at you from varying tool sets, whether it's far away using special moves or it's up close using good buttons to try and poke at you in a way to get confirms to doing damage and to just stupid Oki. So for him, he can still do this. It's not safe that we know, right? But like, look at that. Like, what are you really going to do against that, right? If you're not prepared to react to that, that's a free get in for me. And if you are holding forward or getting counter hit, it confirms from this far away.
Right. Okay, so basically you can do zip into armor piercer. You can do it, but is if you want to do a get in close, it's basically button into armor piercer your go-to for that?
No, not necessarily. What I like to do most is I'll honestly just do
like dash sweep button, grenade
honestly tag honestly just dash button of choice, whatever you feel is right for the situation. If you're trying to heavy button or light button, depending on what you want, right? Like it's your choice obviously, but I usually would just do single button into grenade usually. Grenade is my go-to to getting Jetta in.
Okay. Now that
so you can see see that.
Do that sequence again for me. Okay. Interesting.
Like look at that. Like I can just go in because you've already blocked the button, right? And if you push block, you're making it worse for yourself. So it's and then I have the grenade there keeping me safe. So it's like you're gonna have to choose.
So I have to hold that.
Yeah, so you're going to have to choose to either commit to doing something or just holding the pressure, right? Which we've already established that if you have a more offensively capable character, you're going to be able to take advantage of Spencer more as a whole as part of your team in general. So, like, I like Jetta because Jetta's like a hybrid character, right? He can do offense very well, and he has some good support options. Not the best, but they are good and they are viable for what it is that I want to use Spencer for, right? So
yeah. Okay, so that's a good sequence off a tag to work off of, is just button or jab button into grenade in the tag.
Yeah, grenade is definitely his best support tool, like by far. Now keep in mind, people forget like that grenades have hurt boxes. So if you have characters with extended hitboxes, like sword characters or Ultron, like you can swipe grenades. You can physically hit the grenades. Exactly like that. So it's like if I throw it right and I'm not using the angles right and I'm not spacing right, like it's going to come back on you. Like usually that's how you want to do. You want to be full screen and throw grenade. All of Spencer's tools are straight up used to enable offense. Like he can play the long range game, but if you're not trying to use that long range game to get yourself in closer at a certain point, you're doing it wrong. So that's what you want grenades for, is to be able to like start following behind them like that, using his good ground movement or using the zip with the grenade, right, to give yourself an instant way in and to automatically making people guess the high low basically.
Ooh, all right, yeah, that was a nice hard to blockable there. So I just want to touch on this for people who might not know the character well. It looks like, from my moment of experimentation, you can have 2 grenades on the screen of either type.
Yes.
If you're doing
only 2 at a time.
Yeah, if you're doing jab, if you're doing this pressure with Jetta, like block for me for a second. Are you doing heavy grenade there? Are you doing light grenade? Does it vary with where you are on the screen?
It varies. It can vary kind of depending on like where you're wanting to go, honestly. So like if you're trying to like carry more across the screen, like if you're anticipating that they're push blocking you like more across the screen, like this gives you more of an option, right? It goes farther. If you're just trying to like keep safe pressure, regardless of if you're push blocking or not, right? It's like...
Did we get a graphical glitch? I see, like, is the light on my right foot, like, incredibly bright? I feel like I've got a graphical glitch here.
I don't think so.
Okay, that's just on my side then, that's funny.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's like, if you're just blocking it out, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can use light grenade. Like, if you're not trying to cover any space and you're just trying to hold the ground of where you are, you want to use light grenade. And then if you're trying to actually push in and cover more ground, then you'll use heavy kick. So...
Got it. Sorry, I crossed you up.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. We've
grenade,
covered
the arc. You can see goes like more full screen. Light grenade covers more directly in front. I technically, like, if for everybody's knowledge sake, me personally, I use the light grenade way more than I use the heavy kick grenade. I could probably stand to do with it more, but most of the time. It depends on what I'm going for, honestly.
Now,
like, if you're just trying to keep safe pressure, I would say, and if you're trying to keep safe pressure with lock strings, you stay in front. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Is this just a Spencer v. Spencer thing? But why do they not always explode? So if I throw 2... So they're hitting each other. They're hitting each other.
So
Got
the
it. I was...
They're just colliding with the hitboxes on both of them, and they just completely just trade out.
I was confused because they're like disappearing, and I was like, "What's happening here?" Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about his solo mix options a little bit. We'll just once again re-emphasize jab low, jab overhead.
Yes. Jab low. You can do that for the quick. Like,
does he have?
You thought I was.
Does he have jab tick setups into command grabs?
I mean, you can always do a tick grab, right? Like, it's the same exact thing. Like, when you condition people well enough to responding to your options and you have the right read, like, the command grab is there.
Do you ever go for that as like a finishing somebody off and they're not expecting it kind of move, or?
I could probably stand to do it a bit more. The problem with command grabbing in this game is how unreliable it is.
Yeah,
so I don't really...
I play Carol. I never
use
her command grab. I think command grabs are terrible.
Command grabs are super bad in this game. They're just super easy to avoid. Like, the game's engine is completely built against, like, getting hit by command grabs. Like, when you command grab somebody in this game, you really, really had their respect defensively. Like, you had the read. Like, there's no doubt about when you hit somebody with a command grab, they either did a bad storm activation or you have the read. Like, there's no other way.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered that. We covered mix with partner. We covered sequence with off tag. It seems like mix with partner, you just play a partner that can do interesting high-low left-right mix, and you have a grenade on the ground after you tag with them, and you're good.
So it's like, if you have a character that's better offensively, he can easily enable that offense when it comes to his pokes, right? Like down forward into that, and obviously... round start piercer mind games. So that's what I recommend. So it's like with Spaz's team, like a Jetta or a Spencer Sigma, like you're relying on Spencer to do your offense, which we've shown is capable, but it's not the best, right? So it's going to be less effective.
Right. Okay. And the next thing I have on my list are like his combo options, but I'm going to take a pause on that because I think that one thing that I've been wanting to sneak into here, and I know that like an hour and 40 minutes in, this isn't like necessarily the best place to have put it in, but I don't think we really talked about mechanically what's going on with his zips and what they're used for, and like how to do them, because like if you do the quarter circle forward light punch, it doesn't actually confirm it to anything. You have to press it again to bring it close, And if you press if you press heavy punch, you bring them to you. I don't see people do the reset version very often. Do you go for reset often with that? Do you go for cute restand stuff?
So the you're not wrong. So he does have two different grapple options that we've been showing. Which is the one where he stalls out in the air and it seems to fly out. He does the catchphrase "Gotcha."
And you don't need to button confirm that. If you hit with that,
no, the air version is an automatic confirm. Yes, which you can follow up with dash into OTG, which is his jab is very good for. Jab OTGs on every single character pretty much. So it's just run up jab heavy into zip loops pretty much right after that. So it's just to show example. You can do even the easy zip loops. Got a guaranteed corner carry.
Yeah, we'll do combos in a minute. Let's.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so he's got the heavy kick. He's got the light kick zip, which is when you push both light kick buttons, you get the grapple hook from the arm extend outward, and you see it carries him through. And now this is why Spencer has such unique options for movement. You get 3 air actions with Spencer in this game. So you can do this technically counts as a special move action. So you can jump and then do 3 different zip directions of your choice, any kind, as long as they don't take you back to the ground. You know what I mean? You can stay in the air. Like if you just want to jump away, you can. If you're just trying to get out, you know what I mean? Zips are a good option for air movement in the corner, swinging around, stalling people out. Maybe somebody's in a power storm and you don't want to be there. You can just kind of keep moving around. But like we shown, it also has a physical hitbox on it, so this can be used as a legitimate poke and a legitimate pressure tool. The fact that this doesn't have a lot of hit stun on it throws people off when it comes to it being used as pressure. So like if you do zip into like tag same frame and you don't like tag crash, you know what I mean? Like you can use that to like kind of like stagger bait people and things like that. So zip is Spencer's very, very unique like function in this game is just having a zip. There's a couple of other zip characters, but his zip is technically by far the fastest and the most useful when it comes to movement and also pressure.
I also want to talk about this move because I feel like we should have talked about this when we were talking about support tools. Or like assist
tools. Oh, for sure. Oh, air knee. I totally forgot about some knees.
Yeah, air knee seems... it doesn't hit high, right? Okay. I can block that crouching.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't hit high.
Yeah, you can block that crouching. But it is a... If you go super high in the air, and like you can absolutely like do that with tag, teleport, left, right, high, low them. Like it's very hard to challenge, right? Like you can go on about that for a little bit.
Oh yeah. This knee... yeah, so this move in this game is a lot better than it is in its counterpart of Marvel 3. Aside from just being more of a like a combo extender and a somewhat mix-up tool, not really quite the safest, but it can be used. Anyway, in this game, this move actually provides a use in neutral, as well as combos and as well as a mix-up tool, and it's even better in this game for things like that. So he has a big arcing hitbox that goes all the way down to the ground, and what most people don't notice is he has a splat on the end of the knee drop. So if I'm not, even when I'm not exactly right next to you,
it's big,
the move still hits.
And so let me hit you with it for a second. Okay, and it does lead to OTG state after. I believe, and I'd have to double check my notes.
It does cause a hard knockdown, yes.
Yeah, at least a hard knockdown. Oh, go ahead.
The splash on the heavy version is even bigger. Like it reaches out fairly far away. Like I'm pretty far here. Like, and that's hitting. That's pretty much max distance. Like I can't even reach like with really any of my buttons around this range. But the heavy dive will reach. Maybe like a heavy kick, like a sweep will kind of hit from that range, you know what I mean? Maybe, but it's like, for that to have as much range as it does can catch people on waking up rolling a lot, because people underestimate the hitbox of the crash.
Yeah, and the other, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to take power just to confirm this, one thing that I haven't seen Spencer players do as much with this because it's kind of funky. Nope, didn't get it. Let me try that one more time. Can you... let's just try this. So... No, it didn't do it. All right. I thought there's some weird OTG rules with that move.
So it technically, like, if you're fully knocked down, it OTGs, and if you hit somebody in the air with it,
it doesn't use OTG.
It technically counts as like what would be like a splat, right? Like you can splat and then you can get a hard knockdown, like that, like how that causes like a splat kind of, right? And I can still OTG off of it.
I call that sliding knockdown. So that's sliding knockdown and it leads to OTG. But I think what the thing is like if you do it and then cancel into super, you don't use the OTG until they hit the ground.
You don't use your hard knockdown OTG status until they actually hit the ground. So you can confirm it into tags and, you know, still have like a full confirm to be able to set up your Oki and whatever else that you would want. But this move is it's not really a combo move. You don't really want to use this move to confirm. You're better off confirming air to airs like with this move because of how easy the follow up is, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like that's kind of like your air to air is you want to do like light punch, heavy punch, or just maybe like some other stuff. Well, we'll get into combo.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in 1 second. So the last thing I want to talk about after talking about this, because I wanted to cover this move, and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this move is a helm breaker with a explosion attached to the end of it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and it's just you can't really challenge it, and it's pretty easy to make a nasty mix off of it if you have a teleport or any sort of... I don't want to mind. It's not hard to use your imagination to make a mix off of it, I guess is what I want to get across.
No, not at all. It's super reliable.
So I want to talk about his combo tools, and I know that the different... So I have a video, and I wouldn't be surprised if you haven't seen it, but I have a tutorial series of videos that cover sort of what I consider the combo extension tools, and what those are is sliding knockdown, which is that, wall bounce, and then ground bounce are like the main, and OTG are like the main combo extension tools that I kind of talk about in that. And so as I demonstrated here, he has all of those. I want you to tell me, basically, although we have covered a little bit already, in his kit, where are all of the combo extension tools, or tools that are good for using towards the high end of damage on combos at the end of them to keep it going.
Okay. Most of his special moves and neutrals will be combo starters, right? Like catching people with raw grenades or a raw grapple in to confirm. That's going to be your combo starter. But the zip loops right here, or the jump loops that I also do. Mm-hmm. This loop right here. That's like your main beginning filler part of your combo, and then a lot of his special moves get used more toward the end. That's when you want to start abusing like your hit states, right? So you want to squeeze in zip loops to get as much damage out of your hit stun and everything as you can, and then you start using his special moves to abuse hit stun effects to continue your combos to get even more damage, right? So it's like start the combo with the hit move. See me just doing a lot of physical hits right here. Mm-hmm.
And then you go into the sliding knockdown, and then ground bounce, and then wall bounce, and then you had already used that. Yeah, it flips out.
And then obviously I tag Jeddah, and then your second character gets all the same rules, right? You get another wall bounce, ground bounce, splat move, like etc., whatever it is that you want to do.
Sure. All right. So that ground bounces and leads to OTG state. We talked about. This leads to OTG state. And Piercer.
Obviously, Piercer gives you the super long knockdown state.
Sliding knockdown into OTG, and then Heavy Piercer is wall bounce into OTG. And then he's got Heavy Kick for ground bounce. So he doesn't have anything else that ground bounces, right? Does
No,
grenade
it does
ground
not.
bounce?
It does not.
But it does lead to OTG.
It does.
Yeah.
Grenade
Ooh,
will
that was
wall
a weird
bounce,
roll. What the
and
hell was that?
grenade will wall bounce into a OTG.
Oh, it goes wall bounce into OTG. Okay.
But if you want to just keep like super jumping for me, I think it doesn't carry them all the way to the ground at a certain point. You do have to like.
Okay, so
Never
there's
mind.
yeah, I'm sure with some HSD they'll flip out early. Okay, I just wanted to cover all that stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about conversions. You were talking about this earlier. We're gonna do converting versus grounded, and then jumping, super jump, and OTG. So let's say I'm grounded. You are converting a move on to me. Let's say it's a grounded button. What is your conversion? You hit me with jab. You do dash up jab, and it hits.
So I'm going to try and go into sweep, and then I'm going to start zip looping you. So his sweep is traditional sweep. It knocks him out, but what it really does is it causes people to go into their air like hit stun animation, and just be in the air in general, which is where you want them to be for the optimal height for getting loops. So it's pretty much just going to be, and then you're going to start zip loops up to actually get your full damage and meter build, and then like we talked about, you get the full follow-ups into everything else that you want.
Okay. Now you mentioned that there are. Let's just stay on that for a second because it sounds like we're going to be coming back to zip loops quite a bit. So you did, just for those of us who are not as fast, you did sweep into up forward zip. So
and then immediately a down forward zip. So that's the basic. That is the basic zip loop right there. Like anybody can do that. Like the way it used to be in vanilla would just be you just do heavy kick, up forward zip, a down forward zip, and then you just do heavy kick again, and then you pretty much would just give you the ghetto zip. It's not optimal by any means at this point anymore, but like if you just need the guaranteed confirm and you know that you have the meter or whatever you need to get your kill, you know what I mean? Like that's my maybe what I go for, you know what I mean, sometimes. But
yeah. So what makes the other zip loop better?
You can even just do straight zips at a certain point, but it's really just better if you just buttons into zip.
So it seems like you're doing a lot of air heavy punch, and that's sort of like the last button you press to put enough hit stun on them to get the next zip. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, for sure.
So go ahead and do the. Okay, so. Okay, that's just the heavy kick version. What's the version you do though? Let's show people like that. We covered a little bit of the easier
that's
stuff.
That's like the most basic version. This will be the more advanced version of the zip loop.
Oh, that looks hard to link. So there's a dash in there too. So you're doing like
there is a dash. Like
you're doing air light kick, air heavy punch, dash, jab.
This character is one of the only characters in the game that actually has varying damage outputs depending on your actual like combo routes and confirm choices in the game because of how like his combo routes work out because of how much buttons they require. So this character does require execution. You want to be able to move around smoothly, and you want to be able to confirm into these zip loops to make sure you're getting your full damage and your full meter gain, and also making sure you're getting your corner carried so that you can start using Spencer to enable offense or to create more offense.
Yeah, so what I'm seeing on my notes from when I was data mining with rainbows is that zip adds 2% hit stun decay. Which basically means every time you zip, you're lowering the maximum damage that you can do in a combo by a little bit. His overhead also has 2%, and his command grab has 20%. Surprisingly, his grenade doesn't have anything. But what that tells me is his optimal stuff has fewer zips. Basically, is that accurate?
Definitely. Like how you saw. So like if you want to look at like the basic combo. That's like 6 zips and just one. That's about 6 or 7 zips in one combo, right? Mm-hmm. And that's like you're maxing out your hit stun right away there. So for For this combo, I only do half the amount of zips.
Mm-hmm.
That way I'm getting as much physical hits in to carry my HSD further.
Right.
And get more of that damage.
So,
So they are execution heavy. You know what I mean? It's not...
Yeah, you're fighting for 5% damage there. Like, it's not a huge save.
But you are getting a lot of meter from these combos. Like I said, Spencer is a good battery. He can be a damage dealer for characters that might not necessarily do the best damage on their own. You know what I mean? Like
Show
Strider.
some meter gain here.
Strider as a partner can. Oh yeah. So let's see. We'll just go with the.
Yeah, hit grabs.
So as you can see, he built near 2 meters just by himself.
If you
and
can
obviously with a partner, you're gonna build more. So that's what I'm saying. It's like that's why my team is so effective offensively, because it's like I can get that first hit on you instantaneously, and then build all the resources I need to be able to steamroll the rest of your team.
Right.
Or keep myself safe if it doesn't work out.
Right.
And attempt to keep playing.
One thing I don't know if you're aware of, you might be aware of it, but hit grabs in this game break the meter gain and give rule. So most moves give meter and gain meter at kind of a similar at a ratio. I forget what it is. I think it's like you gain 120% of the meter you give, but hit grabs you gain twice the meter you give.
Yes.
So it's basically you gain more meter than you're giving your opponent. So if you can really get a bunch of the hit grab style moves in a combo, it is better for overall meter because you're gaining more than you're giving the opponent. And both your characters have hit grab style moves that do that. So I'm sure you have some very interesting tag routes that can abuse that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Okay, so that is the zip loops. Let's talk about confirming off of air to airs. So you're getting an air to air. Let's say you're getting an air to air that's like a normal button press. So I'm just gonna hold up, and you can just air to air me.
Okay. So people just going off like Spencer's air buttons, like I was saying, are very good. Jump heavy kick, kind of like tucks up in. It's got a very nice like down forward angle if you're trying to come in from people. Jump heavy punch, like we said, just covers a massive giant angle, which followed by down heavy punch almost always guarantees a soft knockdown. Jumping light punch, also a very good button, and his jumping light kick is a fairly underrated button for how active it is and how much range it has. Like, look how far I'm able to stick it out early, and it still hits you, right?
Yeah, that's
a good. He has good air-to-air options, and then once you have the loop combos down, you can start confirming them easier. Or
okay,
just into Piercer, pretty much like.
Okay,
you can
so you
stuff
do those
like that,
3 buttons into Piercers.
He has great air-to-air options. He's got literally that. That's the best air option that you can do with this character. Is just straight up just.
And that was light punch. Was that light punch?
Light punch, heavy punch. Light punch into heavy punch, and then just grapple. So it's like. Right there. You can just catch people all day.
I guess my question was, that was light punch grapple or heavy punch grapple? Or does it matter?
Light punch grapple. It doesn't matter. Usually if you're in the right range to actually get to confirm anyways, you won't but usually you want to do light punch grapple since it technically hits more up on the character hurt box and the heavy punch kind of angles downward. So just to be more consistent, you want to do light punch grapple.
Got it. And do you ever do stuff... sorry, go on.
Go for it. You just want to make sure that when you're grappling, you want to hit the central hurt box as well.
Central hurt box, got it. I was trying to figure out if like there's ever a reason to do something like okay, I can't launch. Like doing that into a grapple, which I'm not able to hit, but basically trying to stagger air buttons so that you I bet would heavy punch have done that one?
Heavy punch button will do it, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And
there you go.
You can't pick up there because you used OTG, but I was just trying to figure out if there was ever a good reason to do something like that.
Definitely, obviously, for what we stated earlier about hit grab moves giving you extra meter, being counter switch safe, highly abusable by tag characters to be able to do setups and just have a bunch of time to do stuff right. But the main thing with ground bounce, so in the corner, when you're doing that extension, after people think they can counter switch after that. It's actually in Spencer's favor. So,
he's plus. Okay.
So yeah, if people counter switch, I can literally meaty you coming down with Spencer's heavy kick because of how good that button is, and I can just get a ghetto hard to blockable on you because you counter switched out of the grapple. People don't really know that, but
oh, too early. Too early.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
If you're holding it and come out right away, and I'm just like holding up, I can just heavy kick, and then I just continue my pressure off of that.
So what about?
Obviously, it's good for negating counter switch, just in general. You can just completely prevent them from doing it altogether, or you can allow them to do it and put yourself in an advantageous position. They just spent 2 bars to put themselves instantaneously back into mix-up pressure.
Right. They're not really getting out of it when they counter tag there, which is good for you. I wanted to ask super jump height. What is his confirmed super jump height?
So, depending on how it is that you're approaching and what hit you're going for, you know what I mean? You can do the same hits that we talked about before, which is just straight up just jumping light and buttons into heavy punch buttons, and
just
then getting a grappling hook. Instantly takes you into zip loops, into the corner, you know what I mean? Get the whole shtick going.
Okay.
So basically, his air-to-air confirms can be the same from wherever they want. That's the simple confirm. Obviously, I'll go for that. There's no reason to just not rely on that. That's fine as well. Yeah. Me personally, when I'm air-to-airing, I'm gonna choose to go for the more ignorant button. And as the Marvel 3 player, I'm a little bit more prone to using the heavy punch throw option select thing. So I'm using air heavy punch. That button is amazing. It hits from solo. It'll hit you from the other side.
Yeah, okay.
People don't get you can jump back and do this, and if people are trying to approach you in the wrong way, you're gonna hit somebody. This is a huge button.
Now you said.
So this button, go back to super jump height, and I'll show you how good this button is. Look at that. Look at how easy that confirm is. So you're doing air heavy punch and then air down heavy punch. His command normal. He's got a command normal in the air, which is the down heavy punch, and that move gives you basically. Look at that. Look at how far he went down to the ground before he was able to recover from that one button.
Yeah,
it has so much hit stun. That's also another button that you can use at higher hit stuns to do things. When I do the ground bounce, air combo, ground bounce, grapple, and I get the piercer into super, you use the down heavy punch for that because of how much hit stun that applies.
Got it.
So you basically, when you're air to air, you really just want to use air heavy punch into down heavy punch.
And then you can zip down to get them. Got it. Okay.
Yes, you can zip down, or you can just do a zip grapple move. Either way.
Yeah, and it causes the weird soft knockdown, which you mentioned earlier, but it's like hitting them first hit jump heavy kick, but you can still
just to show again, just to show how good it is, just keep going back to super jump height, and I'll just show I'm not super jumping up to air you, I'm literally normal jumping, and this button is good enough to where this confirm will work if you're super jumping or not.
Wow.
That was almost max of your arch, right? I tried to get it as high up as I could just to show how viable this is an option for you.
It reaches super high up. It seems like a really good air-to-air button. Very ignorant.
This is a very large button. You can use this button in scramble situations and just when you're covering space.
And because you have grapple, it's really easy to just empty cancel it into grapple to catch people off.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's just like a good. He just has, like I said, he's just a good pokey character. Like he just has a lot of good options for like covering random areas of space all over on every part of the screen, and it's just like that kind of can just throw people off. And like if you're commanding the neutral well enough, you can psych people out. You know what I mean? And do these little conditionings and like little tricks to get people really start to like cracking under the pressure of what you're doing.
So next thing on my list is OTG pickup, and it seems like you're going to be doing OTG pickup a lot.
Yes,
and
for sure.
you mentioned he has this dash forward jab, which works on everyone. One thing I'm just noticing is that like it is a weird. It's sometimes a weird timing. I'm used to like dash canceling really quickly my buttons, but it seems like you want to let the roll rock. And I wanted to make sure that like that was something we mentioned.
You do want to let the roll rock. But like I said, as a Spencer player, to play this character optimally, like you do have to have a little bit of like an execution barrier set up. So like me in the corner, if I hook you right now, one dash is not enough to get me within range to confirm. I have to do two, at least.
So you gotta do the double dash, and the second dash you gotta let rock. Let me see if I can try to get that.
You have to get close enough, and then what you want to do is you'll do light punch, heavy punch, so you'll OTG, and then you'll stop them from doing the weird hit stun roll after the OTG that happens with the heavy punch, and then you're going to go up forward zip, down forward zip, and then that just leads you right into zip loops pretty much.
Got it. So that's how you pick up and get into zip loops. All right, let me see if I can get just the first part of that. No, that's...
You gotta pump it a little bit. Yeah, you gotta get in there.
For me it's just knowing yeah, that's how I'm always gonna do that. Yeah, that's a toughie. That's probably the hardest thing I think about. Oh, there we go. That's the hardest thing for me about Spencer sometimes is like being able to pick up on that with the dash because you gotta be able to do the first dash. You gotta do the first dash on the right timing, and you can mash double tap forward. Do you use dash macro for that, or do you press the?
I don't dash macro. The only macro I use in this game is easy hyper, and that's.
But do you do punches dash there, or do you mash forward?
I do punches dash.
Okay,
yeah.
so you do punches, crouch, punches again. So you're not mashing.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, it's pretty much.
Okay, so that is the OTG pickup. Is you basically do dash, you dash, let it rock, jab picks up all OTGs.
If you're mid screen, you don't really have to worry about it. Like you can also do like dash forward heavy punch. You know what I mean? At certain ranges like that, and you can just get the free pickup like super easy as well. They both OTG. It's just the jab is kind of what you need to get the full screen pickup like that.
Right.
And yeah.
So let's talk about set play and how he likes to end combos. So how do you, if you do your zip loop stuff and then you're ending your combo, what are you looking for with your set play? Are you doing? Is there a nade setup? How do you end your combos?
Okay. So this is obviously depending on whether he's soloed or partnered, right? So,
let's start. We're gonna start solo and we'll move to partner.
Solo, move to partner. Got you. So honestly, like, spike into grenade is a viable option. It's safe. It's just depending on if you use every single bounce that you have and you just get the super end knockdown, nothing off of that. You don't really get too much of a setup. Like you'll throw the grenade and like be pretty safe, but they might be able to challenge you, and you don't get too much off of it. What you really want to do is you want to do usually piercer, and then you work some kind of ender off of the amount of knockdown that gives you. So it's like.
Okay, and so you're doing
just completely enable some pressure right there.
So you're doing double nade. Would you do single nade for solo pressure there? Because obviously you can't double nade tag. Okay. So you do force tech with the uppercut, and then you throw the nade. Okay, got it.
I'll force tech and then throw the grenade, and then you have as much time as you want to get in there and do what you need to. You literally have every mix-up that this character has available to you off of that mix-up of the Force Tech into Grenade. You can do whatever you want. You can run up, you can do overhead, it's going to be meaty, the grenade will combo you.
If they roll forward, what do you do? Like, can you left right them?
I will show you that. Yes, you can.
Oh, okay. So you can do a dash back if they roll forward and you get the left right. I wasn't sure if you had that. Is there a weird timing to that roll where you have to like not wave dash it, you just do the single roll?
You just, after the recovery of the grenade ends, you literally just do dash into button, and it should usually meaty. It crossed out, he turned around right there in that version, but usually it hits meaty.
Okay. Okay, cool. So he can get a really, and I assume you can like probably cancel it early with a different button in a way that like same sides or something. So you actually left right them.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like it's the thing with the setup is that's so beautifully set up about it is that when they roll forward past the grenade is still bouncing around behind them. So if you dash forward and people push block you out of your mix-up, because me being more focused around playing offensively, I am going to layer up, right? Like I said, like I'm trying to blitz you out with my gameplay, with how I play Spencer and my team. Like I'm trying to overwhelm you defensively and just crack you open. So I'm going to be doing layered offense, like, you know, as much as I can. Right. I'm going to do dash to the other side and meaty you, and then I'm going to go into the overhead, or I'm going to go into a low. And if you block it, you're going to probably push block me away from you because of how scary the pressure is, and you're going to be locking yourself up for a grenade.
Cool.
So the grenade will pretty much come back in and keep your pressure somewhat safe as well, and allow you to continue it.
Right. That makes sense, though. The grenade basically buys you another turn.
Yes.
Okay, so we've talked about solar filler. It's basically the zip loops, and the optimal zip loops use fewer zips. That leads me to sort of hypothesize that if you're not worried about counter tag, you could even just do like literally magic series into tag into a character that doesn't have to worry about zip bullshit, and get a higher damage in combo.
Yes.
So, where do you like to place tag in your combos? Let's just take counter tag off the table. You're against a solo character. Like, do you like to once you get a hit with him, do you just tag him out instantly and let the other character finish? Do you like to let Jeddah do the rest? Do you like to keep him in to do the whole thing and then set up so Jeddah can get stronger mix after? Do you mix and match where you tag Jeddah in for the middle of it and then get back to him at the end? What do you... Me personally, I like to leave Spencer in. I'm comfortable enough with my execution of character that I feel like I can get the most out of my damage and especially my meter gain by leaving him in to finish his part of the combo before I go into Jeddah to set up super strong Oki. Okay. So then I can just abuse all the meter that I just built off that first hit. So show me, let's say, pretend we have, or I'll set the meters to 1. So show me, you get a hit with Spencer. How do you incorporate Spencer Jeddah into a combo where you want to get really gross mix with Jeddah after?
Okay, so let's just say 99 second, it's like...
Right, okay. So you just set up, you basically do
time in the world.
Full spinner setup, and then you get them with the left right to cover the roll in, and then you've got more Spencer mix after that behind the spinner.
Yes.
Okay, and so then just layers upon layers.
Yes, and then that's when you start being able to just work in your trickier block strings that would usually be unsafe, but covered by pinwheel just become, a defending player's like worst nightmare.
Right, that makes sense. Okay, cool. So that is that covers team enders. That covers the tag combo example. How the hell do you defend against this character? Let's talk about that. Obviously you said abuse abuse his zips. Abuse the fact that a lot of the stuff he does is high commitment. Any character I imagine that can do full screen punishes, I'm looking at Ghost Rider, I'm looking at Dorm, I'm looking at Hawkeye, I'm looking at Gamora, Winter Soldier. And he's good. Sure. I feel like he's going to struggle
Zero?
against... Yeah. I
Zero. Buster release is
super. Does he struggle with Soul Whip?
He really doesn't struggle with Soul Whip completely because Soul Whip is a similar tool mechanic to something that he has that he just does better.
So if you go ahead.
Yeah, if people are trying to like do you with Soul Whip, like Soul Whip does not go technically full screen. Like you have a better chance of hitting. You know what I mean? They don't get a full screen confirm off theirs. Like it's just playing a game that they're gonna eventually end up losing.
Got it. So if you jump full screen and do like the across zip for me. Oh no, do the sorry, not the zip, the grapple.
Oh, the grapple.
Okay, and that's not fast enough to punish that. Okay. Or at least not without being like super predictive about it.
Yes, you had to be in a certain range for that too as well, you know what I mean? And you had to like from higher up, you know what I mean? And you're lower on the ground, like you just have no option to get up there fast enough to be able to punish me with the whip. You get pressure, which is essentially like, you know what I mean? Like people sometimes can be too focused on getting the actual punish instead of just making sure they're getting an advantage, which can be, equally as good. So it's like when you see a miss like that, that's your turn to push in at a certain range. Like if you're close enough and you're seeing people like whiff, if you're pushing in right and you know what I mean? Like right there, like you should be hitting me right there. You should be able to like get in and start pressuring. Yeah. Obviously Spencer versus Spencer, every character has the tools to fight themselves. That's why people don't like mirror matches, but
yeah, and I feel like he also probably really struggles against characters with good movement. Like, I imagine Nova or Ultron or, we mentioned Gamora, but like characters that, let me think who else is really fast, Strider. I feel like teleporters and characters that can like mix up their approaches on him can like, if he's in the air looking for stuff and you just do teleport Power Stone or teleport Heavy Punch or Vajra, like, all of those tools can absolutely just be like, oh, yeah, I made a bad read, and I had to make a read, and I didn't tag to make it safe. So basically, like, against those characters, you have to change how you play. You can't just leave this out there against, like, a Strider or, other
Dante,
characters.
Dorm. Dante, for sure. Like, definitely for sure, because it's like, you know what I mean, like then it's like you have more angles that you have to worry about anticipating with the grapple, and that just makes it even more of a commitment for you, right? Because it's like if it's out, look at how fast you're able to close in, and like he's got good movement, but like pretty much any character is going to be able to do that. Like like just like a dash into tag will carry you basically full screen enough to be able to punish that.
Does he struggle with armor? I feel like when I get armor on Carol, I can do okay against Drop. And I feel like he probably doesn't do great against like Nemesis or Monster Hunter if they're like if they're abusing their armor well. Or Sigma.
So he's definitely not the best against armor, like you're not wrong. So like Heavy Piercer, being a heavy move version, has the ability to pierce armor, right? So if you place it right and you're defending well enough with Jetta to block armor and then have that connect, like that setup we were talking about, you can kind of do some stuff, right? But it's not a reliable answer to dealing with armor, as more so as just of what his buttons can do against those characters. You know what I mean?
It's just I've seen a lot of I just wanted to like give a concrete example of I've seen a lot of like Spencer like doing stuff in the air, and with Carol, Monster Hunter, Nemesis, all three of those characters, and Sigma to some degree, can kind of like approach him and they don't give a shit about zip. Like Monster Hunter just jumps at you and does jump heavy punch, and you kind of just have to hold that. Like if the Sigma does air tackle at you, you kind of don't have a good answer for that, right? Like none of these zips are going to break that.
No, you're correct. Yeah.
Or like Nemesis air RPG, or the air to air RPG.
Yeah, thing. He doesn't have good options really for dealing with armor. Like the biggest advantage that he has that he can use for that is the fact that, as we've shown, he has very strong heavy button options on the ground and especially in the air. So when it comes to dealing with armored characters, you're really trying to abuse Spencer's unpredictable and smooth movement to try and baiting these moves into happening and then catching people on the rebound for that.
Okay.
Because it's like, so when armor characters, you know what I mean, most people aren't playing like a double armor character, right? It's not the most viable thing, right? So it's usually like one armor character, some other character.
Yeah,
Various players, various teams. Yeah. So it's all about just using your movement to try and bait these armor moves out and catch people on the rebound or putting themselves in an unsafe situation as you dodge around. And when they tag, then it's pretty much like your turn to go in, right?
Right. Okay. I want to talk a little bit before we move on to the final two parts, and this has been going long, so sorry. But I want to talk a little bit about the round start gambit, because we never really covered it. We've talked around it quite a bit. Obviously, Piercer, 3-frame move, catches up back, incredibly good round start. Talk to me about playing with it, playing against it. What's the mind games? Like, what are you thinking about when you're doing it?
Okay, so for reference for people, 3-frame armor piercer, light punch armor piercer is technically like the fastest move option in the game. I think there's some other characters that get somewhat close, but I think he's the fastest.
Yeah, he is.
So characters in this game are not allowed to jump around at the beginning before it's the announcer announces fight for the round. So technically when you see people at the beginning of the match just walking back and forth, gaining whatever space it is they're trying to acquire, that's because you're not allowed to jump around in this game. It's not like how Marvel 3 is and you can kind of move around a little bit beforehand. In this game, it's just straight walking movement. No dashes, nothing. You're just straight up walking around. So with Spencer, because they're not able to accurately escape from you unless they immediately backpedal and backdash. That's the only way that you can technically get out immediately of it. It depends on how good your backdash is and how wide your character is, but at a 99-second, you can hold back, and then if you time it correctly, if you know the timing, you can backdash. If you miss the timing, though, you're backdashing, and the piercer is hitting you. So you did yourself in anyways. But the piercer
you can block during backdash, though, right? Like, it's not like it's going to hit you if you're just holding back and backdash.
No, if you're mid backdash, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying, is if you miss the timing, like, by a slight second...
Oh, you
like,
still hold the mix,
yeah,
is what you're saying.
You're still holding... Yeah, you're still holding the option.
Yeah.
So basically, this being the fastest option in the game, and it catching the fact that you can up-back it, or really get out of it, means that at the 99-second, this character is essentially in control immediately.
Yeah, if you just walk at them as soon as you can start walking, like it feels like it's just like, and it's, unless I'm choosing to blow a meter round start to try to bust out, it's your turn. Like, you just start with it being your turn round start.
Yes,
which is crazy.
That's why that's why I recommend playing an offensively capable character, specifically to abuse the fact that this character is allowed to do this. Like I said, it covers all options. You can get the backdash. You can catch people up backing. If people know the actual timing for the hold back and backdash, then you just dash up and do dash sweep, and you catch their backdash with a heavy starter anyways as well. I did that as an opener on Stealth in some rounds at Summit, even because of how well I know he knows the gambit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's like this weird rock, paper, scissors that you got to know everything.
Yeah, it straight up is, because 3-frame piercer is you'll catch everything. There's a movement option that can counter it, but if I read that option, you're getting hit with a heavy starter and probably dying.
Yeah, and you can try to maybe fuzzy if he goes for this, but if he goes for this, you're probably not going to be able to fuzzy that, although the timing might not work out against you. I don't know. The other thing that I've seen, or I've tried to do, is chest-to-chest him back and then tag during the round start and hope that you're not close to him. You just have to time it right.
usually doesn't work because even if you get the tag isn't fast enough to like prevent the armor piercer still. You know what I mean? Because armor piercer's faster
Yeah,
than the tag
but
is.
like you're not.
So
I guess if you block here, just down back. I guess my point is this piercer tag is a lot less scary than this piercer tag. Does that make sense? Like if you push, if you're getting piercer here because you bought a little bit of space with the pre-round tag, like that feels a little better to me as like I can push block this, I can maybe push block the next button and up back, as opposed to like, oh, you know, I'm chest to chest piercered and like, you know, I'm just looking at like when I fight drip and maybe I'm just making a bad choice there, but like at least when I do that, it's not a great option. Is what you're saying?
No, it's really not because the timing is very like specific. You know what I mean? And if you mess it up, then you're getting birthdayed, which is even worse.
If you mess it up, you lose the game. No, straight up. Okay, so
not necessarily. It depends.
No, I mean,
how
yeah. Birthdays build
be,
you more meter than they should, and yeah, there's all that. Okay, but you're basically there is this very you favored rock paper scissors round start where you just do piercer round start or you do dash up low.
Yeah, and it's straight up like a conditioning thing. It's all straight up like a rock paper scissors. Like you can do this, but I can do this, but you can do this, but I can do this. So eventually, at a certain point, it's like if I know that you're holding this option. Instead of doing what you think is going to happen, which is going to be round start armor piercer, you know what I mean, and you're blocking it, it's like at the round start, when it comes down to it, and you're just choosing to block it, and I know I have you, I'm going to just open up with, because you'll think that the jab will basically be a random tick of what you think the armor piercer is, and then I just catch you with the overhead, or it's just raw overhead.
Right. Are there any characters like I imagine Ryu and Cap and probably just those two? I'm trying to think. They can probably just DP you and tag round start, right? Like they can just do.
Yes. The only characters that can escape without a bust out super is Ryu, Captain America,
our Monster Hunter probably. She can just do 2 charge slash.
I don't know how fast hers
it's frame 1. It's frame 1.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, she gets frame 1 armor on 2 charge slash.
Yes, but the startup I'm not sure if the startup is fast enough to actually activate.
Well, we can try to see. Let's go to
for
lobby
the armor.
And do a character select. So the other thing I wanted to ask, I know that Carol's dash back almost certainly isn't fast enough to get out of there. There's some characters that are just slow. She's one of them. Are there... What about counters? Can Arthur or Cap do their counter moves against...
They can. Counters, yeah.
So their counters come out fast enough that... Okay, so chest to chest me and try to pierce me.
Yes. So Cap is a good character for getting out and dealing. He's probably the best out of all of them, honestly, just because of those options. Or I know Arthur counter works. I don't know if Cap counter...
It's frame 1. So I could have tagged there to make it safe after he did the piercer, or I could have just immediately gone into super after I visually confirmed that he did piercer to me, and it would have worked. So yeah, Monster Hunter has a way out as well.
Can we just instantly restart?
You gotta kill me. This is
We'll try it again one more time just to make sure.
All right.
But there's not too many characters in the game, so I guess maybe Monster Hunter, but for sure Cap, Arthur, Chun-Li, because she has the EX Spinning Bird.
Can she charge the EX Spinning Bird pre-round?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Because you can crouch, so she's allowed to charge the Spinning Bird right away.
Okay.
That opens up a whole...
Are there characters that... I'm imagining Chun-Li can. I'm thinking, are there characters that, if you know the backdash timing, can get the backdash?
I think any character that has a decent enough backdash and isn't too wide of a hurt box character...
So, like Dante probably can, I imagine.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
All right, let's test this real quick.
Nope.
Yeah, so that does work. So Monster Hunter. So there's 4 characters that you can pick that can deal with that round start. But that's it. If you're not specifically vibing with those characters or choosing those as a counter pick, which who does that except for Johnny A, but it's very hard to deal with. So a majority of the people that I'm playing in this game are just gonna have to either
Hold
commit
it.
commit super hard to being instantly desperate, which if it doesn't work out for them, they're guaranteed dead because then they won't build enough meter off of getting hit, like you know what I mean, to save their character. Like it'll pretty much just be a death sentence if it doesn't work out for them.
Right. Okay.
And for me, I can still do buffer tech too, right? So if you do bust out at the 99 second, I can just do the buffer tech, and if you bust it out, then you're getting punched anyways.
I don't know what the buffer tech is.
When you buffer the motion input for a super.
Oh, you're saying right. So you're gonna do armor piercer, and then you're gonna do the motion for your bust out super punch or whatever, and then if they do their cinematic, you hold kicks and you get your cinematic. Yeah. That's
exactly.
That's what you meant. Okay. Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah. So the super buffer little cheat that is there, you can use that also at your round start against people who have bust out options, and you can again still pretty much just shut down.
You cover the option. Yeah,
you can pretty much just shut most stuff down. But you still have bionic arm on round start.
You can't shut down meterless options though, because you gotta just do that timing and wing it, right?
Yes. Yeah, straight up.
Okay, cool. You also mentioned, before we move on to the final things, you said he has the same I quote you as the same punishes he had in Marvel 3. And I said, I didn't know what you mean by that, because I didn't play Marvel 3. Did you want to elaborate on what you meant by that?
So, as we've shown previously as well, just real quick, so like the zips being throw punishable, that is also in Marvel 3. His overhead being technically punishable with the throw at certain ranges is also in Marvel 3. The frame data is the same. So
what you were saying is he is punishable in the same ways as he is in Marvel 3. His stuff is fake in the same ways. Got it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, then I think we covered most of those quote unquote fake things. Let's talk about what cool tech are you working on? Like, is there anything you're doing to push the character further? Is there anything that you haven't shown us that you're kind of got in the back pocket that you feel like you want to show us?
Honestly, like, there's not much that I haven't really done. There was one thing that we were talking about earlier, which is setting up like restands, which is something that people might not have seen for me too much. Yeah, things like that. So like this combo right here. So just I wasn't close enough. Hold up. Didn't let me do it. So that right there, you can use it to actually reset your pressure at certain hit stun and just get a meaty restand. Like if people are holding anything but down back, you know what I mean, or back, like they're just gonna get hit. So most people are like holding techs of some kind, you know what I mean. Most people aren't really expecting that to happen.
Right, they don't expect to get grounded there. They would expect to air tech.
Yes, that is throw punishable right there though. Like after the restand, that's also a Marvel 3 thing as well. You can do the same thing in that game. You could do up grapple and restand them and just do a command grab, which was much more viable in that game. But if you were in the corner, every single character in the game could just mash throw.
In this game too, because I feel like throw is okay.
Throw still works as well.
Okay.
But I can bait you by just doing bionic arm after that. So if you get the throw one time, you know what I mean, I'll do it again and just check your knowledge and see if you actually know or not.
Got it. All right, and last thing, any other unusual moves, interactions? Anyone in chat have questions, stuff like that?
Let's see. Since we were just talking, something I want to kind of maybe mess with a little more, start doing a bit more. With it, talking about the restand thing is kind of, let's see. This does take a partner. But if you use the right kind of special moves...
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
You can actually, yeah, so like that was a specific thing I labbed out that's what I noticed, that when you do pinwheel does not bring people into the air. It still hits them in their standing character animation. So if you just let yourself get hit just to demonstrate, I guess.
Sure.
So you'll see that like you don't get lifted into the air like how when I'm doing like pinwheel loops in a combo. Obviously, I can only do it off the OTG, so you'll be OTG the whole time. But when I bring Spencer into the mix...
Right, he restands you, and now you're eating mix.
Yes.
That makes sense. That's cool. I like that.
And you saw, like, you know, I can do anything at that point. I can put myself wherever and then go into the same high-low sequences that we've shown before. So maybe that's something more I want to do.
It feels like it wouldn't be hard for him to abuse the three jump / 3 landing rule in combos to go for some really dirty standing mix up. So if you like got a standing hit on him, or you got a hit versus standing, you could do like up zip, down zip, up zip, down zip, whatever. And once you land the third time and they're still standing, that's like basically free mix for you. You jab them and then you just high low them and they have to eat it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you could do the same thing off this concept right here, right? So it's like...
Yeah.
Like, you can do the same exact thing. But just the thing with that is, like, when you pull them, as you saw, it pulls it to where Spencer is in front of him, not just, like, at a specific range. So I was pulling you out of the corner, right? So, like... That's why I was able to do the first demonstration. I was able to cross you up and steal the corner from you. Mm-hmm. So like the zip just pulls them in a specific range in front of you. So when I'm doing that mix up, I'm pulling you technically out of the corner. You're eating the pinwheel at high hit stun, which keeps you standing. And then I can literally just choose where it is I want to be, on which side, and if I'm going to hit you high low or not.
Right. Cool. So okay. That's awesome.
That's pretty much it. I think maybe trying to just get some short hop things down a little bit more because of how good his air buttons are. I think that he's a character that if you're really cleanly, you could abuse short hops, heavy punches, and things like that on like certain characters. Like that has a big hitbox. Like you can actually cross people up with this button.
Oh wow!
Look at that.
Yeah, that's a nice. What is his? Is that his only cross up button?
If you start mixing that in with some zips, I'm pretty sure his heavy punch does.
Here, let me try doing it.
No, I don't think so.
Oops, I'm doing too good of short hops, and I'm getting full hops, and that's not what I wanted.
Obviously, when people are crouching, right, it's a little bit more reactable. So on bigger characters, like it could definitely be more of an option that I kind of maybe want to try going for.
Yeah.
Get the I forgot to talk about that right there as well. Just get a little sauce off his throw.
Oh yeah.
So he does get a ground bounce off of his air throws. You actually do get a combo. Like you can just mash tag and get a free confirm.
Is that back air throw too?
I think so.
Yeah. And then does he get anything off of side throw? Back or front? Solo or with partner?
Oh, he does not. You do have to have something out. So like that was another good part of the solo mix-up I showed earlier with the Force Tech grenade. So like
Oh, you can use the grenade to get a setup.
You can do a little bit more and just keep it flowing.
Got it. Okay. Let's move towards wrapping it up here. So real quick, Jaco has a couple questions. Which version of Spencer's better, MVCI or MVC3?
Jaco, my boy. I know that he plays both fairly heavily. I fought Jaco a good amount in this game, so he's definitely knowledgeable when it comes to the strengths of how this character operates in this game. And I've seen him play a good amount of 3. So what I would say, Jaco, is like I think that Spencer in Marvel 3 is just able to abuse his tools in a similar but different way because of how the game engines are set up. So I think he's still a very good character in this game. Like I definitely think he's still around like the high tier area like he is in Marvel 3. But it works in a different way. It's because he's a scrappy character. I don't really think he has any like bad matchups. I don't really hate fighting any character. Like obviously armor characters can be bad. But I don't feel like he's got anything worse than maybe a 7-3 at very worst, which is not that bad. You know what I mean? And it's still manageable. Most people aren't playing those character options consistently enough anyways for it to be a consistent worry. You know what I mean? At this point, it's just...
And then what do you think of Ghost Rider Spencer Time, is the other question you had.
But I would say... so you're talking... Basically, who's the Japanese player? I think he plays that team, right? Or no, he plays it with Power, though. They have a good amount of Spencer players in Japan, interestingly enough. I think it's just the same problem as your other team, Jaco. It's just two characters that don't have an access to bust out. It's like, I mean, obviously you can still mix. It's just like, you know what I mean? You're not really getting the same things that I get off of my pairing. But you can still make it work. Like you can use all the stuff with the time stone. Like it can work.
Sure.
People play the team competitively, you know what I mean? Like I said, like in Japan, like I've seen people play that team. So it can definitely work.
Ghost Rider is a set play heavy character, so if you're going for set play with Spencer, Ghost Rider can definitely give you set play.
Yes, like they can definitely enable each other, Jaco. Like Ghost Rider can help Spencer do things, and like you can pretty much just do like some hard to blockable nonsense a lot, I think.
Cool. All right, well, before we get all the way to 3 hours, let me thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Hopefully we can get you on again to talk about Jeddah soon. Go ahead and shout yourself out. Where can people find you?
If you don't know who it is Vortex from Albuquerque, New Mexico. You guys can catch me online at justtwitters.com on the Bird app, at Willoughbeaston. That's WILLOUGHBEASTIN. It's kind of a mouthful. It's a little wordplay on my last name, kind of, but I haven't changed that shit since I was in like high school. So that's how you know, guys.
Do you stream? Do you have a YouTube?
I don't do anything, guys. This is my first content. This is the first content creation right here. So
awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you on. I'll go ahead and have your Twitter linked in the description. And cool. I'm gonna cut it here. Thanks so much.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good one, guys.